All right. And we are live. The Last Word with Lord Cognito and Ebatis, fresh on that Friday evening campfire. Little special guest action, but what's going on, E? How you doing, man?
Oh, doing pretty good. Got a workout in this morning, got ready. Honestly, we have an awesome guest in here, so I don't want to wait too long. So let's bring him into the campfire the way you guys know how we do it. Here we go. Good evening. We are back around the campfire, and the friendly competition of Guardian Games awaits all classes next week. With laurels to pick up and medals to turn in, Ava Levante will be back in the tower once again to serve as Destiny's grandmother. After that, Season 14 will be here, and while the name is still redacted, we know some changes are coming, and our guest will always give his well-constructed opinions about the future of this game. Tonight, we are joined by a gentleman who is seasoned in both life and gaming. Sure, he started out with some classics, shout out to Super Mario Bros. 3, a favorite, but he is not just a gamer, he's so much more. This man is likely the smartest man in the room for more often than not, and his work in biomedical engineering has driven him forward for the past decade. Math and science have built how this man's mind works, which explains why he is so cool, calm, and collected in the heat of battle. Openness to discuss any topic in a constructive manner is what has helped him build such a positive community. And while civil discourse is where this man shines, his PvP skills are legendary. If you put a hand cannon in this man's hand, he will likely take you down and juke you out of your shoes while he does it. So, without further ado, let's welcome a man who has usually found with a headband on and a notepad in his hand. He has built one of the best communities on his road to Twitch partner, is welcoming to all walks of life, and proves it by truly caring about even your pronoun, and agrees that grape nuts are also the gravel of cereal. For our guest, it's 0 or 100, as mediocrity is not an option. His goal in life is mastery for any topic or skill, and proves it is do or do not, there is no try. Let's welcome the one, the only, illPhysics. Mr. Tony, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Put your hands together, David. Put your hands together.
That was an immaculate introduction. It's a little bit of embellishing here and there. But
hey, that's what we got to do. We got to do it.
I dig it. I'm feeling it. So thank you so much. The name is Physics, a.k.a. Tony. If you did not previously know me. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me here. I do appreciate it.
Oh, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, just honestly, thank you. I know I got to see you on a podcast that it's I wasn't on, but it was on previously. I know you were on the one with Mario. I'm trying to remember the name of. So just anytime the filler. While he was doing that, caught you on there, and just enjoy listening to your takes in between on Twitter. It's always constructive criticism. So happy to have you on here. Cognito is even happier than I am to have a PvP guru on here. So we got some stuff to talk about, but let's get to know you first, man, a little bit. I know Super Mario Brothers 3 is literally the game that I played. You get to World 8, you're 10 years old and playing as a kid, and you're I've spent way too many times on this game. But just some of the classics you've been through, what did you start with for gaming besides those specific NES classics?
Man, I guess the origins of gaming for me really took it way back, right? So I'm a little bit older, and my dad worked for IBM when I was growing up. So we always had, PCs in the house. And so even before I, got hand-me-down the Nintendo to play Super Mario 3, et cetera, et cetera, I was playing Tetris. I was playing different, I can't even remember some of the names of some of these games, but your solitaires, your card games, your hearts, et cetera, et cetera. And so, if there was truly an origin of gaming for me, it would be between those things and maybe some online chess and things along that line. But, my family wasn't huge into, my head was always in a book growing up. Whether it's because I did enjoy it, of course, I enjoyed reading a lot. But it was also to some degree enforced. To some degree enforced. My parents definitely kept me on a rigorous academic, rigorous academic calendar. Nice. So there wasn't too much gaming, growing up before Super Mario Bros. Even before, I guess, before I kind of struck out on my own. When I was 15 years old, I ended up going to a special boarding school, here in North Carolina, called the North Carolina School of Science and Math. Awesome. Excellent school. And that's probably where I branched out a little more, because I didn't have, the strict
Destruction over
framework,
here.
you know, exactly the strict framework of my parents, you know, making sure that I was definitely always in a book for the most part. You know, my friends definitely played some Tekken or you know whatever you know they were playing at the time. Doom was also like really big back then, of course.
Yeah,
so,
that's probably most people's first shooter, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah. Wolfenstein 3D.
Yep.
Oh man,
yeah.
Wolfenstein with 3D, by the way, was dope. I can go off on some topics.
No, that's literally what we do.
This is what we do here. That's what we do here at Campfire.
Yeah, Wolfenstein 3D was I love that game because not only was it a shooter, you know, obviously, but also it was a lot of puzzles. You know, there's a lot of puzzles, there's a lot of like secrets and things you had to kind of like find Easter eggs, et cetera, et cetera. Wolfenstein 3D, man, like they need to bring that back like hard. I mean, obviously they're top tier caliber games that follow kind of a similar trope, but nonetheless, Wolfenstein 3D was kind of huge. Age of Empires as well. Man, I guess I did play more than I thought I did.
We get into that strategy bag.
That's what I'm talking about. I guess I did originally play like Warcraft a little bit back in the day. You know, before it got like super big.
Yep.
And then that transitioned into Age of Empires and Age of Empires 2.
Age of Empires 2 was like the one.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have siblings as well. I have an older sister. I have two younger brothers. So between them and also my dad, who's also kind of an egghead, we used to always like get down with these things, you know, in our spare time, like here and there, for sure. But you know, in my older years, I guess I've had some experience.
Question.
He's like, now that I think, I have been gaming a lot. Okay, fair.
No. So you jumped into RTS. Any turn-based strategy, or was you more of an RTS guy at that time? Like, for example, like the I guess the XCOMs would be considered turn-based, or did that not appeal to you?
I mean, there was like
RTS?
Heroes of Might and Magic even that far back, so I'm dating myself too.
No, that was pretty much like the ones that I listed are pretty much the ones that I got into. You know, like I started getting into Call of Duty a lot. Like later on, so I didn't play much games in between when I finished up high school and when I finished up, honestly, grad school. You know, I went straight from, of course, like high school straight to college. 4 years there, and then I took 2 years for my master's, and I did that right after high school as well.
Nice.
And in that period of time, I wasn't really gaming that much at all. It wasn't until after grad school. And maybe like a couple of years later where I started getting back into gaming a little bit. And I started playing Call of Duty like a lot. Okay. So I started that with World at War.
World at War.
MP40, baby. That thing was popping. That thing was popping heads. I'm telling you. The MP40 with World at War. Zombies. I fell in love with zombies there as well. And then I just kept on playing like every one afterwards, you know, the Modern Warfare 3,
Black Ops stuff.
Black Ops 2, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you know, after that, I finally got into Destiny, but Call of Duty was like a thing for a minute.
COD was a movement.
I mean, a lot of people have either come through Halo, COD, both usually is like a general way to go through, but like COD, I don't know of many people who played first-person shooters that haven't played like Modern Warfare 2 and stuff like that, for example, where that's like, it's one of the pillars that was the next one after like Halo and Halo 3 that like changed things big time. So it's a pillar for sure.
And also, I mean, Call of Duty, of course, was on all platforms.
Yes.
Excuse me, as opposed to Halo, which was only on Xbox. And that was the reason why I didn't get too deeply into Halo, even when it was hot, was because it was on Xbox. Right. So I think my cousins, maybe, you know, every once in a while I would game with them, you know, over at their house, and they only had PlayStation. You know? Like the only games I ever played of my own were again like Nintendo, or it had to be on a PC.
Gotcha.
So,
so
yeah, you know, like Call of Duty, just huge influence, you know, kind of on gaming, pop culture, like everything at the time was truly ubiquitous.
Yeah, it was transformative because you know, I remember, like I said, just the perk system and kill streaks and things of that nature, and it had just such an addicting nature to it. Like, you know, when you start playing it, and then, you know, you really respect the guys who had the special tags because, you know, they reset their thing a couple of times and stuff like that. So there was this prestige that went with it, you know, and
most definitely.
Yeah, man. It was a time. It was definitely a movement. At least I know you didn't. You were doing like Nintendo and PC, but like in the console space, it was extra transformative because for us peons, we had 60 frames for the first time. So we like, yo, this is crazy. Like, you know, I didn't realize it at the time, you know, because again, you go from 30, but we knew something was different. Something about the movement was more fluid and stuff. So it's cool that you mentioned Call of Duty because it truly doesn't get the credit it deserves for being like a moment, you know, as far as gaming and stuff.
You think so? You think so? Like, I'll defer to you. I'll defer to you, you know? But
Let's go.
The one thing I will say is I don't think it gets the credit it deserves with regards to staying, like people look at Call of Duty and I feel like it gets a lot of hate for like staying the same way. Staying the same way over years. And I can see that criticism, right?
Yes.
But people gotta think the evolution of, just like you said, kill streaks. You know, resetting your prestige, you know, like certain game modes that were like iconic game modes that now, you know, everybody has those game modes if you have like a first person shooter. So, you know, in some ways, sure, it became a little stale, but in a lot of ways, like they were making just huge evolutionary leaps.
Oh, transformative. Transformative, I agree.
In gameplay and also in game structure. Reward structure in particular, that just completely influenced everything even today. Even today, in how we structure our reward systems in FPS gameplay, it's crazy. It's crazy. COD is something else.
Yeah, but you literally said it. I mean, that's what it was, and it made other games take notice that they couldn't do those same old things. You know, if you want that engagement, that addictive quality that COD had, like you said, that the reward system and all these things that they kind of pioneered in the space. Because to be honest, coming as an Xbox guy, I remember when COD hit. And all my Halo friends went to COD. And I was like, what's going on? And I'm like, all right. And then I played it and I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. Yeah, absolutely. What you got, E?
No, so I wanted to kind of touch on that time between your gaming segments, your biomedical engineer that you are now and your degree. And like, obviously math and science is a big thing for you. And I appreciate that because that's kind of the way my mind works as well. Kind of nice, but like, what drew you to? Obviously, your head was in a book a lot, so I mean, you know, intellectual, grown-up stuff like that. What led you into the field that you're in, and you know, any cool stories? I mean, biomedical engineer. Are you making like? What are you doing with that as well? So, how'd you get into it, and what are you doing with it?
Oh man, biomedical engineering it's crazy because you know everybody comes upon their path in different ways, right? And I would say, I don't know what the average person, what time frame where they're just like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I remember specifically, I was in 8th grade. And for some reason, my English teacher brought me the prospect because they knew I was strong in a variety of different subjects, but they knew I was strong in math and science, of course. And it was my black English teacher who just pushed me in a variety of different ways. He would give me comic books. You know, he would give me extra books to read. He would, like send me stuff with regards to like fellowships or like scholarships, et cetera, et cetera. You know, he was truly invested in seeing me move forward in whatever career I chose because apparently he saw something in me. So, you know, shout out to him for sure.
Awesome. That's awesome.
But he's the one that actually like put me on to the field of biomedical engineering. To begin with, I already kind of knew I was leaning towards engineering as far as, you know, me being kind of like a thinker, a tinker.
I like
but as you know, as far as like biomedical engineering, I think it was because at the time we had discussed, and for a while, you know, I was going to be pre-med. And so I think that's where the biological sciences aspect of it came in. Right. And so it was kind of like a merger between those two interests, those interests in, you know, biomedical sciences, and also engineering as well. I think that the way that my dad is a computer networking engineer, and I think that I picked up quite a bit from him in
IT in the building
and kind of sees and processes the world. And I think that's the reason, a large part of the reason why, you know, engineering definitely leans on me quite a bit. So So I think that was kind of the time frame that I knew I most likely wanted to get into biomedical engineering, and I kept on kind of like renewing my interest in it by, fellowships, scholarships, whatever it is. Like I did a bunch of stuff at Duke when I was younger. I did a bunch of stuff at University of Rochester as far as research and things like that. And all those things, just over the years, just reinforced the fact that I really enjoy the subject. I really enjoyed the subject a lot. And on top of that, there's just a lot of versatility to it. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be in a lab in academia, for example, doing research. I mean, you could be, out in the private sector doing a variety of different things. And what I ended up leaning on, which kind of fell in my lap, was after I finished up with grad school in biomedical engineering, I knew that I didn't want to go for my PhD. I knew I didn't want to be in academia. So that's when I decided right there, because I was initially going for my PhD. But I cut out early, got my master's, and I was approached by the U.S. government. The U.S. government ended up putting in my lap the opportunity to become a patent examiner.
Oh, nice.
Patent examiner for the United States government. And so, long story short, I ended up doing that for nearly a decade. And what I really enjoyed about it is, you're basically, as a patent examiner, you're reviewing people's inventive concepts, people's inventions, right?
That's dope.
Somebody comes up with something new.
That's kind of cool.
That's cutting edge, particularly in your field, because I got pulled on as a patent examiner specifically for biomedical engineering,
right?
And biomedical sciences, biomedical devices, particularly.
Yep.
Somebody invents something new, or they think they invent something new. Then I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to go through all the research, all their filings, et cetera, then I'm going to look, throughout the entire world.
Right.
We have a search system. We look through the
entire
database
world. Throughout. Yeah.
Exactly. And we're trying to look for somebody who's done that or done something similar enough to it, to the point where we can say, okay, well, you just pulled a bunch of things from these areas, and it's kind of obvious. You pulled that together. I'm gonna reject that.
You go hit it with the reject. Damn. They're out here stealing bars. Damn. Okay.
So, or it's something brand new, and there's quite a few things that I allowed. And that ended up getting the stamp, the allowed and whatnot. It is something that ended up burning me out because it's really intense work. I mean, you're reading all the time. Researching all the time. And on top of that, you have a quota, that you have to meet, every week, and more importantly, every quarter, and even more importantly, every year. So, years and years and years of that, it just ended up kind of like burning me out. It's not as if I didn't enjoy the work, but I mean, it's as I said before, and you guys said now, like I'm kind of like a 0 to 100 person. So therefore, I'm not about doing shoddy work.
Right. Yep.
As you proceed up the ranks, you have more and more work to do in less and less time. And I'm not about to do shoddy work. And so,
I feel you.
That's unfortunate.
I'm very meticulous, very detail oriented, and so it just ended up taking so much time. It became really stressful because it was less and less time to do the work that I really wanted to, the really quality job that I really wanted to do. And so I ended up dipping,
right?
And doing some more similar work on a contract basis.
Okay.
But yeah, I left the office maybe. I can't even remember. Sometime like in the mid 2010s.
Okay.
I can't remember at this point, but it's still like fantastic. You're literally looking at cutting edge
all the time. Yeah, that's awesome.
Scientific stuff. Every time you pick up a new case. Right. So you learn so much. You learn so much. Like my brain got massive.
I can't fit through doors anymore. It's a problem.
Yeah, it just couldn't. It couldn't. It couldn't fit through doors anymore. You're right. It got massive just because I was reading and learning 24/7. If you didn't understand something that you were reading specific to that case, you reached out. You reached out for references and reading over here because you had to understand that case. You had to understand it. If you, in order to allow it or push it off, reject it, you had to literally understand exactly what was going on in that case. And so a lot of that stuff fell within the realm of my knowledge base, especially as I got more and more senior and had seen more and more stuff. But a lot of stuff was like brand new shit.
Yeah.
Where, like I said, cutting edge stuff. And I had to catch up. most of it. So some dope stuff. But yeah. it's a burnout, and a lot of people do burn out of there. And
it sounds like it's inevitable, depending on how long you stay. If they keep pushing you faster and harder, especially the way your mind thinks, it seems like it's just bound to happen.
Yeah, it's tough, and I'm not going to say that I couldn't have, navigated that a little bit better as well. Like, a lot of people are smart about it too, a little bit smarter. They take a little bit of time off,
right?
Where they're just like, because the office also provides you a lot of opportunities to just be like, hey, you need to dip out for like, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, or something like that. Get your shit together, then it's fine. But me, I'm just like, no, I just want to work.
Like 0 to 100.
I just need to get this case done. This attorney is waiting on me.
I got you.
And so, I don't regret leaving the office or whatnot. I'm the type of person that's always kind of looking forward, not looking back very much. And the experiences that I gained there, the knowledge that I gained there, the connections, the networking, and things like that are just invaluable to where the trajectory of my life right now. But yeah, I will say, like, one last thing. There's nobody that better understands patent law, the law of how to execute and prosecute patents than patent examiners, even attorneys, just regular attorneys. It's a very niche area of law.
Very specific.
And so you become an expert in that, and that's pretty cool. But the second thing as well is I've always had kind of like a very level-headed personality. What I loved about like going back and forth with attorneys is there's no emotion to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Folks see how I interact with folks online if we're on the other side of a argument, debate, whatever else. Right. It's just like there's no emotion to it.
There's emotion to it. Yeah.
I'm passionate about stuff, but there's no, I don't see. I don't say
taking it personal
like that. I don't see Drewski as an adversary as much as I see Drewski as I'm picking his brain and I'm trying to kind of, really try to like hone my perspective. Through picking Drewski's brain, for example, it allows me to really, really knock down on what I'm saying.
Right. The core essence of your point.
Of course, understand a different perspective as well.
Correct.
And so, that's what I mean by my math and science background, but also my background with regards to law and legal arguments for like 10 years. It's really allowed me to kind of just be open to different perspectives. It doesn't matter whether I'm right or wrong whenever I come with, opinion. I don't really have an ego about it. It's more so just about, I'm just trying to learn. I'm trying to learn, and I'm just trying to listen to these different perspectives because everybody's got something, different to say, and some more valuable, to the topic at hand than others. But it's just always interesting to hear these different perspectives, and that's what kind of guides me to how I interact with just everybody in my life.
Oh, that's dope, man. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's a balance, and you made some great points. Just having that objectivity to, even if it's someone whose point or side you don't necessarily agree with, but to be able to hone in your specific skill set as to why you feel the way you do, and also sharpen your points even further. In regards to a specific argument and stuff like that. And that, again, I like what you said, because a lot of people sadly always put the emotion into it. I noticed. And a lot of it, to help us communicate, even with me on the other side of the fence on certain things, there's times he said things and I'm just like, you know what? Over time, I'm understanding where he's at, and I'm just trying to pick up, like, help me understand why. Like, I have him explain it further and further into more refined detail. And then you're like, okay, I get the core essence of why he's here. Right. And then vice versa. Sometimes with me, he's like, yo, Cog, why are you so vehement? And that's a great point. And I wish more people would do more of that as opposed to he's an idiot.
That ties into so much too. And I've honestly hated to see it recently, and hate's a strong word, but like Dylan, how to talk to a community manager is like a day or two ago. And it's just like, and again, it's people enjoy the veil of the internet and they're jerks on kind of being able to hide the anonymity of who they are. But on the other side, it's like that stuff you would never say to somebody's face.
Yeah.
And if you can take 2 seconds and as physics said, get some perspective, put yourself in their shoes, think about all the things, the dev, the community, everybody's going through to get where they are. Right. They didn't like just do this to screw you over or be mad at you or, crap all over the one perk that you like that's not there. There's reasons behind all of us. Do we always agree with them? Of course not. But
of course.
Would we like to know why? It's like we've said it. I honestly have lost track of the number of times we'd say in this podcast, like, I would love to know, like, the reasoning that goes behind this decision.
Yes.
It's like, I would love to be a fly on the wall to understand, like, okay, so they went through this is why they made this decision. It's like, we know Bungie is very data driven. They have all the numbers, they go off all that type of stuff, and it's why. And then all of a sudden you turn around and you're just like, okay, and that's the stuff. It's like, I wish those are the questions I could ask, even if I could tell nobody, just to like put peace to my mind, just to understand more. As you said, it's like the perspective of doing the research. Unfortunately, they're not always going to share everything, and that's the perk of a developer. But it's just one of those things we wish we could know. So
absolutely,
of course. And let me say this too. Like, I don't always get it right as well. It's not as if like I'm infallible. Emotion, we're humans. Emotion's going to come in from time to time, whether it be on my side or the other. And, of course, you got folks that are trolls as well. I mean, they're trying to get rise out of it. So, I mean, it's just always things that I'm thinking about, like, just, hey, convince me. I might be wrong. Convince me. Convince me. That's one thing. Another thing is, if I am wrong, for me to make sure that if I'm really trying to be a constructive part of this community, to make sure that I say, oh, okay, all right, cool. I accept that premise, and that's what I'm going to speak from now on is exactly that.
That's dope.
But also, when emotion does come into it, it doesn't hurt. How much does that hurt? 2 seconds, just said, oh, my bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of like hopped off on the rails for a second, my bad. And that's definitely happened as well. Folks generally do consider me fairly level-headed or whatnot, but it doesn't mean, like I haven't popped off from time to time.
You ain't get at somebody else?
We're still humans. We're not like, we're not Spock.
You popped off. No names and who was involved, but there was some DMs that were exchanged where maybe I was just like, my bad. My bad. My bad. I stepped on some toes there, and that was all. So,
I respect your building, brother. I respect it.
It happens, But
no.
But we're all human, and I think that a large part of it really is just folks coming back around, being humble, and being like, my bad, just fucked up.
Yeah, no, bro. Absolutely.
I've made some great friends like that, and I'm truly blessed that folks, give me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, no, that's dope, brother. I mean, again, all building. All great conversation, and I love that kind of stuff. But what I was going to ask you was, now actually you did that transition, and you got out of the hardcore level of just the patent life, so to speak. And my thing now is that then you transition. But like, how did you incorporate now content creation? Like, I want to get to that part. Like, how did that happen? Because you seem so razor focused in what you were doing, you know what I mean? And I just want to know how that part came to, was it specifically now transitioning to Destiny that opened it up, or was it something else that kind of brought the content creation aspect out of you?
Yeah, everything for me in my life has been like just organic, like I just kind of like just flow with whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like I just kind of
I already see where you at with it, brother.
Like that's the person for me, like I'm never like so. For better or for worse, I'm never like, man, I really need to be focused on like a career, I don't know, a regular stereotypical career. I need to be worried about my 401k. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm just like, I really enjoy this right now, and I see a way to monetize it. I'm gonna. And I see that there's organic growth that is happening right now, and that I can continue to double down on, and will continue to happen if I end up doing that and doing that at a high level. And I see it, and when I see it, I just try to go for it. Whether that ends up translating into success or not, it'll remain to see, remain to be seen or whatnot. But I've been looking up in my life that if I really, really, truly double down and laser focus on something, then generally it manifests in a way that not only allows me to live, but also, it's in a way that truly does like fulfill me and is along the, I guess like in destination of what I was going for, So as far as like content creation, like I finished up at the office. I was still doing, a decent amount of contract work, which I still do from like time to time.
Right.
And I was playing a decent amount of Destiny. My brother got me into Destiny because he was overseas.
Okay.
He was overseas, and also he was in a different state at certain points in time. And he was just like, "Yeah, I want something to be able to play with you and hang out, even though you're not right next door to me anymore." Right. And so started playing Destiny. He's the one that got me hooked. Thank you.
Shout out to the bro. Shout out to the bro.
There you go. Gotta thank the brother.
My brother. The reason why I'm here today is my brother. 100%. And I tell him all the time. And so he stopped playing because he just got busy with life and whatnot. I kept playing, and I'm a very competitive individual. I came from COD, and I was playing COD, at a above average level. Nothing, even in comparison to where my standing is in Destiny now. I was never so improvement focused in Modern Warfare or whatever COD game I was playing as I am in Destiny now. But I was above average for sure. So when I came to Destiny, those same cogs were turning with regards to the competitive nature of PvP. So of course, I was playing a decent amount of PvE to kind of like ease into it with my brother and things along that line. But even when he ended up dipping, I found PvP and I found it really enjoyable. I started making friends through there, and then they suck you in with trials, et cetera, et cetera. And so then, I started playing PvP at a relatively high level, a little more seriously. Always, like I said, competitive, always been improvement focused on no matter what I do, hobbies or otherwise. As far as content creation goes, I kind of just how I've explained it before is when I moved over to PC, that's where kind of like my community started to grow just in general. And it grew out of the fact that when I came over to PC, I didn't know anybody. Most of my clan didn't come over. I didn't know anybody. So
I know that well. He got me over here.
And I got you over here. I was like,
he got me. I was like, whew. But you had to start over, so to speak. Continue.
Yep. No. So you know it well. So then I started to connect with people. Especially during a period of time where skill-based matchmaking was pretty tough during year one. And so started connecting with a bunch of different people, had my Discord server with like hundreds of people in it. And that's where, my community started, even though at that time I didn't necessarily think of it as a community. I just thought of it as a group of friends, that I could pull in and play with whenever I needed somebody to play with. I'm a very social gamer as well. And so then I started streaming just as kind of an extension of that community so that even when I wasn't playing with the people that I now became friends with, I could still hang out with them on Twitch.
Right.
So that's how I transitioned from the Discord and playing with people, playing with friends, to then, streaming. It was just about hanging out with my friends, even if I didn't have the opportunity to actually be playing a game with them right then and there. And that's where kind of like content creation started with me. I didn't think of Twitch as content creation at that point for sure. But then, as I saw a way to start monetizing that time, that's when I started to focus a little bit more on content. That's when I started to focus a little bit more on what is this concept of community through content creation as well. And that's when I started kind of doubling down on both of those things, kind of trying to, progressively improve the quality of both of those things, community and content creation. And,
Dope.
And then I went full time last year.
Nice.
Around like March or April. And we've been doing it, nonstop full time since. Right now where I am with content creation is I'm trying to really hone down. I've just about figured out my niche. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, now how am I going to double down on that niche and further monetize that niche for growth?
Right.
Just kind of stages. But for me, it's always about kind of just like organic growth. It's always about organic community. It's always about connecting with folks, making friends, allowing other folks to meet, my friends, because quality surrounds itself with quality. And so I'd like my friends to make, friends with each other, and whether I'm there or not. So,
Love it, man. Love what I'm hearing, man. Yeah, great thing. And then I love the community building aspect, and that part is just really cool. And I think you said it before in one of your posts on Bungie, by the way, which you were spotlighted very, very coolly, by the way.
Yeah.
Salute. And yeah, man, I think, like I said, it's so cool because what you said kind of is what resonates with me. I just feel like it. Look, we know we love Destiny here, but it truly is one of the best communities I've ever been a part of, in gaming. And again, this man here, like I met because of this game, and we have this friendship because of this game, and it's so important. So salute to you for what you're doing in that space, because and having that dialogue. I saw you. You had a couple panel with a lot about PvP. God, you had a Nomad in there, Tassie, Kofi. Like, it was a cool discussion, and I was just like, yo, this is cool. And I mean, even though some people had different viewpoints, it just all you guys coming together and thinking about how to improve, especially my beloved PvP, which I'm always a fan of those discussions, sir. Yeah. So I just had to shout you out on that. But yeah, salute to you on that. That's dope. I can bloviate, but I'm gonna let you talk because I can keep.
No, I mean that's why we have him here. For one,
no, trust me, if I go, it'll be 4 hours. We try to keep it condensed.
We gotta let this man sleep or read or whatever he does.
I gotta respect his time.
No, but I mean that's kind of one of the things, especially lately, why I was like perfect time to get you on is some of the stuff that we've had recently with regards to sandbox changes. Mm-hmm. Some of the threads that you've had on Twitter talking about things like quick draw and like your thoughts about it and the way you play. One of your recent highlights that was literally only possible, you said, mostly because of quick draw and stuff, like some of the changes that are there. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of curious to see just where your thoughts are for, where things are heading in the world of PvP, where it's at right now, and just kind of your thoughts about Sandbox and Destiny, and is there anything for like where it is right now that you're liking so far and like direction you see, and what are like, changes that you would like to see for the game when we're looking at like season 14, or is there something at Witch Queen that you're like, I kind of need something to see something like that here? I have one of those for me, but I want to ask you. That's why. So.
Oh man, this is a huge question. It's a huge question also because we've got this looming backdrop of an actual competitive PvP game.
Right.
Yeah,
and that just changed the game, right?
That I mean, we've kind of known about it a little bit, but I think that post by Destiny News Net and by Tassie, and Tassie's been following it as well, of course, kind of changes the context of the conversation quite a bit. Because if Bungie, to put it simply, if Bungie is working on that, then that's where they're trying to funnel the competitive aspect of their game. And then we need to think a little bit differently about, well, what does that mean for this game? And what's the direction of this game? What do they want the direction for this game to be? In the context of this whole competitive backdrop, does that mean that then Destiny is going to be basically like just fun? Is it just a fun game? To put it simply, is the PvP supposed to be just fun? And we're going to usher as many competitive folks over here, so therefore we want the skill gap to be relatively small here, like nothing crazy, but of course we're going to usher all the folks who really truly enjoy like a sizable skill gap. We're going to push them over to our competitive game, that we're developing.
Right.
So that's one thing that, kind of sticks in my mind when I'm talking about, kind of sandbox changes, and whether those sandbox changes specifically narrow, whether I'm thinking it'll narrow or expand the skill gap. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. Second thing is something that I like and something that folks need to continue to keep in mind. This is this is 7 years of Destiny, right?
Yep.
7 years of Destiny, 2014, right? This is 7 years of Destiny, right? We got some people who are real nice with it now, PvP wise. Real nice. You got to keep that in mind. There are people that have been playing since the beta.
Oh, fast.
I only started playing in Taken King, and this is where I am at skill level. You got some people that have been playing since the beta. My point is, there's a sizable skill gap in Destiny right now by no other fault than just the fact that people have just been playing for a long ass time.
Right.
And Bungie's trying to temper that a little bit because that's proving prohibitive to new folks coming in.
Right.
All the way back here. What I've heard, and this is why I love kind of like ingratiating myself to some degree with the more casual base, is because then they'll share some of their perspectives with me, who coming from a community where the sweat community, the higher skill level. We haven't always like treated, casuals, you know, very, very kindly.
Good point.
Bag them,
Yeah.
you know, like tell them
You
shit,
ba-
and all
physics,
that
you
stuff.
bag,
You know, we don't
physics.
have a good
You
rep. We don't
can't
have
be
a good rep.
bagging. Ain't no, come on now, be respectful to the casuals.
It's just, you know, I mean, I'm not necessarily speaking for me. I'm just talking about the community
I know.
from which I come from, right?
Yeah.
I can understand why there's some animosity towards that, of course, of course. And so I love it when folks share those different perspectives with me from their gameplay experience. And one thing that I continue to hear is that the what's the word that I'm looking for? The learning curve.
Yes.
The learning curve for coming into PvP right now, especially if you're trying to get into even just a little bit of comp, even just a little bit of trials, you know, like, but even in quick play, you know, it's just really
smashed.
Steep.
Yeah.
Really steep.
Boys getting smashed out there. Yeah.
It doesn't take long, to walk in and be, and just realize I'm outclassed, like very quickly.
And this is the thing too, you know, that I've told folks, it's just like, when you are outclassed by a certain degree, when the skill gap between you and the next person, or even just the average person, is so great, there's no learning experience.
Right. Yep.
You don't understand what's going on to the point where you can change something, you know, for improvement in that situation. You don't understand. There's so many different mechanics. It's overwhelming.
Preach.
It's overwhelming.
Preach.
And we've been sitting here for 7 years. We've been sitting here for 7 years. So purely off of the fact that, you know, folks have just been playing this game for so long. I guess my point is the direction that I do like, that I do think that Bungie is taking with Destiny, and what they truly do realize is this right here. And the fact that they need to continue to make the game as accessible as possible to new folks coming in, you know, especially new folks that want to get involved in PvP, because otherwise our population, our base is going to continue to shrink.
My man.
When folks hop into PvP just in quick play and they just get shitted on the entire time, they don't even understand
what's going on,
how, what to do differently in order to correct that. You know, so you know, I can of course, you know, like switch off and you know, evolve this conversation into what you know, my channel, and how it's very improvement focused and community customs on Sundays, 2 p.m. Eastern.
That's right. Plug it, baby.
Get him.
Whoa, hit him, plug him. Talk to him.
There are no shameless plugs on this podcast.
Let's go.
Let's go. You, sir.
Perfect segue.
But
Bars.
But I'm just saying, you know, like it's something I think that's truly on their mind. It's something that I try to keep in mind whenever I'm having, for example, these quick draw conversations where people are getting flipped on with a shotgun and they don't really know how to respond. They don't really know how to combat that. They're you know, I can tell you your positioning is bad, but how do you really change that if you're just coming to the game? You know, like you don't really process like how to change, you know, the engagement distance. So basically, we're having this relatively high level conversation, and I need to back it down a little bit and be like, well, okay, all right, well, you probably don't even know how to change your engagement distance to even combat that. You don't even know what I'm talking about. So I don't know. You know, it's sometimes when I'm having these conversations online, I try to pull myself back, and I'm just like, a lot of people don't even understand what you're talking about, Tony.
Right.
You know, a lot of people are just trying to play the game, Tony. A lot of people aren't trying to play the game competitively. A lot of people aren't trying to necessarily improve. They're just out there just trying to hang out.
Right.
And hit you in the face with a grenade launcher every once in a while and just have some fun and frag out. It's a really tough balance. This is what I'll say. It's a really tough balance for Bungie. And I do not take that for granted. It is an extremely tough balance. And it just, that tough balance, that difficulty just comes from so many different areas. I feel like that a lot of people don't even consider.
No, man, you made, again, phenomenal points. I think that's always going to be the struggle for them, you know, because again, I don't have the percentages offhand, but let's just say that the sweat community represents this, you know, 15 to 20% or whatever it is. And then you have this casual base that, again, they may want to try trials for the first time and see what that experience is about. And their first experience is so utterly demoralizing that they have no idea what went wrong. And then the first inclination internally is like, well, I'm done. I'm not staying here. Like everyone gets smashed. So again, I know us, I'm not the hardcore community, but I'm not above maybe average community. But what I realize is that is so important, because what ends up happening, if that base leaves, right, and the pool gets so much smaller, then the sweats are playing each other and getting frustrated because every match is super sweaty. So it's just this weird dichotomy that they have to solve. But what I wanted to transition is into what we were talking about as far as the this new potential PvP Bungie IP thing, right?
Yep.
So the question becomes, and I want to bring it to both of you, is that obviously we're seeing that this thing's development. We see a job posting on, they're talking about it. It almost sounds e-sportsy a little bit, we're getting into this realm. So now that we're knowing that this is going to be a focus from them, maybe resource wise, how do you then transition that, apply that to where Destiny's PvP is now and our frustration with it? Do we say, hey, well, they're working on this and I'm going to give them a pass because of it? Or is it a situation where, like how do you process this information now coming out to you that they are working on a dedicated PvP kind of a game in relation to Destiny's PvP, if you know what I mean, currently right now?
For me, for me, it's kind of like a tough love thing. It's just like you have this game right here. Like, I don't care whether you're working on a new IP or not. I don't care whether you're working on a new IP or not. If you tell me now, I say that because it's just like this is your business. This is your game. You still got millions of people that are playing.
Okay.
So it's just like, you can't tell me that we don't have the resources for this. We don't have the resources for this in Bungie or whatnot because we got this other IP going on over here. You can't really tell me that, as someone that plays like several times a week, because it's just like, well, you didn't think about that beforehand. That you don't have the resources to split. So you
I see where we going.
The game that is live right now that people continue to pay money, for like every single day in your Everforce store. It's just like, I don't really go for that. I don't really go for that. Now, what I will say, what I will go for is if Bungie is very transparent about the direction of the game with regards to PvP, because we have this other IP going on here. Look, people, we got this other IP. It's about to be esports. We got dedicated servers. Get ready for that.
Oh,
Get
God.
ready for that.
Can you imagine?
Understand
Please,
when I say this, that the way that we're trying to work Destiny specifically is we're not trying to make it any degree of competitive.
Right.
Like, we're not trying to make it any degree of competitive. Our goal with Destiny, with this IP right here, is that we're trying to make it as accessible as possible. We're trying to get this population up. We're trying to make this a true looter shooter and not something that you see what I'm saying? Like, we're not trying to make it anything any particular semblance of competitive.
Right.
We're trying to keep trials there. We're trying to keep, comp there, whatnot. We might just completely take comp out of the mix, so that people don't even see like the competitive aspect in that particular realm. Because we're not even doing anything with comp anyway. Comp is in the same way for like a minute. There's no real rewards there. But my point is, I just want Bungie to just tell me. Just tell me what the direction is.
Preach.
You tell me what the direction is. Therefore, my expectations revolve around what you tell me. And therefore, I'm not going to be disappointed over here when you take quick draw.
Put your hands together,
do
damn
something that is counter to my expectations. Just give me some expectations.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying.
That's all I want. I don't care what you do with your game. It's your game. In the end, I might be passionate about something, but I don't care what you do with your game because I understand it's your game and I can play it if I want to play it, and I can not play it if I don't want to play it. But just tell me.
Exactly.
Tell me what you're doing so I
is
can make that decision. So I'm not here sitting on a fence. That's it. That's all I care about.
No, brother, you said it. And I'll give it back to you. I know I had to get this off with, but it's like that's the source of frustration because again, literally what you said is what I've been preaching, which is like, okay, as long as we know what's going on, as long as we understand, you communicate to us why there hasn't been any PvP maps in God knows long, why there's been no, focus on this structure, why improvements are taking so long, why the PvP community feels so neglected. And for a person like myself who literally fell in love with this mode, to not see any attention to it. And then on the flip side, when you look at PvE and you look at sandbox changes, and you look at all these things and you see all the attention go one-sided for a season, multiple seasons. And like myself, like yourself, like I love trials. And it hurts me when I see it sometimes in the state it is. And you just see when, like example, when they put the messenger in with a desperado perk and you see people rush to actually play it now, you see the little things with incentive is, being incentivized to play stuff and comp. It really goes to show you like, okay, talk to us, because when you do these things, you know, you see that the community is engaged. And I'll give it to E in reference to the question about this new multiplayer, quote unquote, new IP that's PvP focused. Like when this news came across your table with Tassie, because you don't want to put it up in the DM, like what was your thought process now? Like, are you like, yo, okay, but like what happens with Destiny? Or you like, you know, like where you at with it? I'm very curious. This was cool information that came out.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but also what Tony Physics, what I'm going to call you one of those or the other. I don't know which one's going to come out. The biggest thing, as you said first, is we would like to know the direction long term. And they've given us a glimpse of the fact that we have 3.5 years of this saga. There's likely going to be more of Destiny after that. We don't know. I've been wondering, honestly, for the long time, how long, and I've had discussions with my chat about the same thing, is how long do they even keep up with, you know, now past-gen consoles? How long are you going to maintain PS4s and Xbox Ones that are literally 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old? When do you stop supporting that platform so that doesn't hold you back, theoretically, to do things like take weapons and have another perk be a possibility, or have another perk slot? Or when we're at the capacity now, we talked about this last time or the time before, that a legendary literally can only have so many perks active at the same time, because systematically, if there's another one, the game breaks and something doesn't function. That's a very, very, very deep issue to how the game is built. Like structurally, fundamentally, the code, it's a very deep issue if something's at that level. So for them to make those type of changes, it's either a deep system rework, and that's something maybe they can do over the next few years. Are we looking out to a Destiny 3, Destiny universe, whatever that thing's going to be called, to see bigger changes like that? And then this now goes to the other side of, okay, so what are the next 3.5 years are going to be like, is what this always takes me back to. What are we going to look at for armor sets, for example? That's one I always, after playing Outriders especially.
Oh, yeah, especially
like,
after playing Outriders.
I mean, that's just like eye-opening, like, dude, this is amazing craziness going on. Can I have even a little in Destiny sometimes on the PvE side, especially? Like PvP, it's hard because they're always walking that delicate line of have fun in the game, but we got to make sure stuff isn't completely busted when I walk into a PvP match. Otherwise, it's just not fun in a lot of ways.
Right.
So I get that's a delicate line, but on the other side, hey, if I go do raids or if I go do strikes or there's set bonuses, if I can't have set bonuses because there's technical limitations, like I fall down a rabbit hole really fast when I think about the next couple of years about this. But this one on turn, for the other side, a lot of like the community is PvP focused. You've got a lot of streamers that do weekend, you know, trial streams. You've got community helps like our man right here. You, Ascendant Nomad, you've got people that just enjoy PvP more because they may jump on for the story on Tuesday, do a couple of quests, but why do they play the rest of the week?
Right.
If they don't care about checking a couple triumph boxes, it's PvP. They love the competition and that type of thing. And that's the side of you're like, okay, so there's a room. And this is a point where if the rumor's out there, it's on Bungie to try and address it sooner than later. Because the longer that rumor festers, the longer people on either side of the equation of, hey, is PvP going to be amazing if we get rid of, if all the PvP people go over there, is the PvE Destiny going to be something I hope for? Well, we don't know if they don't tell us. On the other side of the PvP people, like, I may as well just like set this thing down for a little while, wait for this other PvP. Like those are the things, if you start digging farther into the future, that this other prospect of a PvP competitive, not trying to balance 10,000 different options in one match type game, if they can really hone down on, you know, your DMRs and stuff, like more of a Halo set weapons, something along those lines for a set game that's competitive in esports level, what does that do to your game? Well, that's the question of like, how long is it, how far reaching are those effects into the future? Is the next 2 or 3 years of development that the game they want up by 2025, which that number keeps coming up, if it comes out in 2025, is the next 3 years of PvP really still going to be the same like this? Is comp going to continue to just slowly fall to the wayside?
Good
and
questions.
We're never going to see anything like a ladder system? Is Trials ever going to see something like dedicated servers? It's like Lord. PC is going to be cheated, but then you see people like jump on Stadia and be like, outside of a little input lag, you know, Trials on Stadia is one of those things people are like, it's the cleanest place to play if you can deal with a little input lag. And it's like, that's one of those when you're like, that hurts a little bit if there's no plan to do that because the future prospects are where their attention is. And it comes back to the state of the game's engine, systems, or otherwise. Is it too much for them to fix so they have to move forward? So, like,
Good questions,
I mean,
brother. A lot
that's
of good
a
questions.
long-winded, rambling answer, but I mean, that's one of those to where it honestly makes me wonder more about what the future next couple of years are going to be like as we get to the future. Like, I'm excited about this other PvP game from Bungie. I'm sure it's going to be hella fantastic. Like, you know, their feel of every gun and bullet that comes out of your gun is amazing. I don't expect that to be different in what comes in the future. But again, what's the journey to get there? I guess that's my question.
Now, question, because I came into this article late, and I want to be clear. It's saying Bungie's new and unannounced IP franchise to feature competitive PvP multiplayer with esports. So, from my understanding, right, correct me if I'm wrong, the secret code name of this IP supposedly, allegedly, was Matter. Is this going to be an additional component of Matter, or is Matter just, for what we're hearing, this PvP razor-focused kind of new IP? I guess is my question. Is it, is it a tech?
From my understanding, the stating of something being developed in parallel, Matter is one thing, but maybe this PvP focused thing that they're still working on. And then something else in the Destiny universe may evoke. There's going to be two separate things.
So it's two IPs anyway.
Well, maybe a Destiny 3 or some future of the Destiny, but then Matter's a code name. Whether it's this or the future of Destiny,
right?
It's separate. But like when they say in parallel, people are like, "Oh, is it in the Destiny universe?" I'm like, "No, like developed at the same time is what they're talking about."
Right.
So that's what, at least the way I read that.
That's the way that I understand it as well.
Okay, that was my question. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And like I said, physics said it best. Like, the key is, while that's happening and we know this now, the information is out, the key is going to be charting the next 3 years with Destiny. How is the focus there? How is that approach there? Because like physics says, to be honest, like, in fairness to the people who still play this IP, they don't really care about that. You know what I'm saying? It's what are you doing about this current game now and to fix PvP? Now, we know, shout out to the homie that took over from Luke Smith, that is kind of in that role now.
Justin Thurman, something like that.
I forget his name. Is it Blackburn? I forget his name.
Oh, Joe Blackburn. Yeah, and
Joe
Justin.
Blackburn,
Those two are kind of like, those two.
Because we know the feeling at the studio is they're very passionate right now. That you're seeing the Bungie tweets.
Yeah, like, so in Bungie, like with the fist pump type tweets.
They're feeling good, right? So I think it's up to them now, when we used to get our quarterly, Luke Smith state of the game kind of a situation, right? So I'm very curious to see when we get that in the space of the future when it comes to Destiny, and we do know about these projects as well, but how razor focused will Destiny be attended to, that, especially the PvP scene? That's going to be the question.
Well, I mean, when the state of the game comes out and they don't mention very much about PvP outside of trials, like new maps, there's not a lot of mention with regards to the state of PvP, or like, is there any future plans to, as you said, put anything into comp? None of that is mentioned in the state of the game. So again, you have to, that just leads to more questions and worry, as opposed to the transparency, at least a little bit, be like, hey, we are working on, a deep dive into the comp system. We'll let you guys know in a couple months once we have some of the details. Nothing, like zero at this point. And that's what I think leaves a whole lot of people, especially the Crucible focused community, very unsettled.
Yeah. And a really good example of that, is cheating, right? Really good example of that is cheating. It's just like, we can take a really deep dive into this. I've been doing this since,
nuts.
It started.
Let's go. Please do.
But no, I'll just keep it simple.
Cliff notes.
Specifically related to what he said, right? It's just like, look, we don't know what's going on with the anti-cheat, but they let us know they're working on it. They let us know they're actually working on it. They acknowledged it, and they let us know they're working on it. And on top of that, these small little things that they do, DMG comes out every once in a while. It's just like, yo, make sure you send me this, make sure you send me that. We're taking care of this. Every once in a while, you'll see somebody get banned specifically on stream or something along that line. So we know that there's some things kind of happening in the background, some machinations, right?
Right.
Look, I'm really frustrated with cheating. I'm really incredibly frustrated with cheating. But just that little bit, them letting us know they're working on it, and every once in a while, them acknowledging this and that is helpful. That's what. Do you know how helpful it would be if we got even more transparent? If we got even more updates? Because it's been a minute since Cosmo sent out that tweet with regards to the anti-cheat. Them working on the anti-cheat. It's been a long time, way more than 3 months. So again, my point is, in the same, I'll loop it right back around. When I was saying to Cog, it's just like, look, a lot of this stuff, a lot of the frustration in the community, and I'm glad they started to kind of tap into this a little bit. A lot of this frustration that just talk to us, and set some expectations.
Preach.
Set some expectations. If you see something rumbling in the community, don't let it fester. Just like E said, don't let it fester. Even the smallest thing can start to just blow up. DMT right now, Dead Man's Tale. That's starting to fester a little bit because the ease of use is so high, specifically on PC. I don't know how it is on console because I'm not there, but specifically on PC, the ease of use is so high that folks are having an issue with it, taking an issue with it. Don't let that fester.
Right.
Address it. We're taking a look at it. We're taking
a look at it.
Yeah, taking a deep dive into DMT. We'll get back to you. We'll collect some more data. We'll have something for you maybe in like a month, a month and a half or something like that, and then we'll see if it needs something kind of like toned back or whatever else. Just talk. Just don't let it fester. Don't let it fester.
Good point.
Communication, transparency goes a long way with kind of easing the frustration and allowing me to sit back and just wait. Because some people are just like, they feel like, oh man, like Tony, for example, or this person over here, they're going to complain that, it doesn't matter what it is. Well, I'm not going to get to this heightened, frustrated level to the point where I feel the need to actually say something on Twitter about it or wherever else, on platforms. I'm not going to get to that level quite as quickly if I feel like Bungie's listening. I feel like Bungie's actually, give me something. We'll
give me something. Give me something. Like, it's that acknowledgement, right? Like you said, it was almost like I remember when Arbalest was running wild for a little bit, and it's just like, okay, we see it. You know what I'm saying? Or we're looking at you, 600 RPM, so all those, you know what I'm saying? We see it. Once I'm the same way with you, physics. Like, once I see that, I'm cool. You're not going to get the crazy wild out tweet and going in on the developer and, yo, what the hell? You ain't going to get that. I'm going to chill because I know you own it. But when, like you said, there was that period where cheating was so loose, that the cheaters were so brazen and loose with it. They was like, yo, we out here cheating. Yeah, we out here. We out here. What? Bungie, what you gonna do? And I'm like, fam, do you see? And it was silence during that period. And it was so frustrating. And it really broke my heart because I'm like, yo, I want to love this game in this mode. And you're not even talking. You're acting like nothing's going on. And they know it's going on. But again, it's the transparency. And I don't know if it's a thing where because they feel that they can't reach a realistic deliverable that they don't want to talk about it, but it's still not a good process to not be transparent because once that frustration, like you said, gets to that point, and then Twitter, there is no stopping that freight train. So it's best to just get ahead of it and say, hey, we see what's going on. This is what we're thinking about. And maybe at a particular time frame, we're going to talk to you guys and address it. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. So I agree. Somebody said Hard Light. Yeah, Hard Light was running wild. I remember that, man. 600 was out there, so they was out there. So.
Yeah, 600 really were. They really were. I'm telling you. I put that. There's some guns I put on, to kind of take it to a lighter note. Some guns I put on, I'm just like, I gotta take this off. I can't do this.
I can't do it. I feel dirty. I'm like, oh man,
this is too easy, man.
It's too easy.
See, I don't mind that every so often.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying there was one time like when Hard Light was dope. It was really good, right? Before the nerf. And cheating had already started as well. It was on Burnout. I remember it.
Yes.
And I put on the Hard Light, and we had some trouble in some games during some trials help. We've been having some trouble. I put on that gun, and we got like 3, 4, 5 cards done back to back in about 2.5 hours.
Shooting down the whole
just Hard Light,
ricocheting.
Like I'm sitting over here just like holding the key down. You know what I'm saying? The fire key just.
from range, from far range,
halfway, just watch the laser light show and just the kill feed.
Light works everywhere, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, after those cards, I had to take it back off. But my point is, it's just like, man, I mean, it's
I heard somebody joke about that meta though, like 600 RPMs were so popular, like. One thing I've heard from listening to a lot of people like firing range and a lot of the people that aren't too thrilled with the current meta being so ability heavy and not gun heavy. Yeah. Like when the 600 RPMs were active, it was a lot of guns and a little less of the other stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Let me ask a quick question. I know we're going on with the subject. I know we got to move on, but I have to ask physics this. Like from a PvP, what was like you know, I always call it like the reign of this or it was a meta that was like, yo, like I remember like Lord of Wolves had a run. Like, give me some metas that would either.
I already see what the question's going.
Yeah, you already know where I'm going. So either the metas that you couldn't stand because it was like a feared meta or a meta that you was like, yo, I liked when this was ruling. Like, give me some of that. Let's go. Let's go.
All right, here we go. We start with the meta that I love.
That you love. Let's go.
Spare ration, spare vendors meta. Oh my god!
I saw the clips.
Thought they could hand cannon, got shitted on. Come see me, dog. Put a hand cannon, put on full board because you think max range is gonna do something, and I'm gonna have stability on my shit, and I'm gonna give you the gunny over and over and over again. These Titans come out, you know, and these Titans. They're just like, oh, I can primary now. I don't have to punch, run around with the shotgun. They put on their max range full board spare rations, get tapped the fuck up. Then they put on the fucking Lord of Wolves, and they knew I was in the game.
Yes,
that was in the game. You know,
I ain't go for that. When I saw you, I had the back step with the Lord of Wolves at the back step just to get the distance.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? They knew they could either play me back over here or they had to get in my face now because a hand cannon wasn't working.
Facts.
But
Actually, that was good one.
I love spare vendors.
Spare vendors.
Forsaken when it first came out with Ace of Spades, of course, as well. Before Not Forgotten started taking over. Like those are probably my two favorite metas because they were truly like hand cannon focused metas.
Well, of course,
which you love,
of course.
Which is anti-Ebontis. It's anti-Ebontis. We're gonna continue. He hate the hand meta. Continue. I ain't gonna. Yeah,
I'm just biased to my Go Figure, and they finally took that away.
Yes.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I love Go Figure. I love Go Figure. Take it out on what was that map? Equinox.
Oh.
Get you a nice Go Figure, yo.
I had two that were like next to max range, basically. Basically. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Is that right? Let me. What'd you have on it?
I still have one. Hold on.
Jeez, I know he ain't get rid of it. I know he ain't get rid of it. That damn dad bod.
Oh my god! Always with the dad bod.
Damn dad bod post that he always got. Dad, what was that? The Black Armory one that you had too. What was that one?
What was that?
I never got the god roll on that.
Blast Furnace.
I never got the god roll on Blast Furnace. Mine was literally just Outlaw Rampage, but it was Ricochet. It was a long zoom scope, so it was like a dusk scope.
Perfect scope for you.
Masterwork. It was just a range masterwork as well. So
that's nice.
Nice. 97 range on that one.
Round nerf too. Keep in mind that was before the Ricochet round nerf.
Yes.
You actually got the zoom factor from the Ricochet round on top of the range that it gave to you. Man, that thing was probably mapping. And on a map like Equinox, people thought you had to pull out a scout on that map, but then folks quickly learned, you just got to have a really nice pulse. Get you that Go Figure, get you that Blast Furnace, and just pop.
Sick.
You had Outlaw and Kill Clip or Outlaw and Rampage on a Go Figure, call it. That thing was so nice. Seriously, aggressive frame pulses.
So flip side now, the most notorious, you were disgusted meta.
Disgusted. Just completely dishonest meta.
Yes,
completely dishonest.
Which one?
Sniper meta. Sniper meta, 100%. And it was even worse because on PC, that's when like the cheating started getting like rampant.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like whole clans started popping up of cheaters. Everybody knew there were cheaters in that.
What was the sniper? What's the sniper they using though? What was the sniper?
It didn't matter. Where you literally, and the crazy thing is, soft aimbot existed. And I call soft aimbot because it's not really cheating. It's just like snipers were so easy that, and the flinch pattern was so, we'll call it just easy.
Yeah.
The flinch pattern was so easy. I mean, basically, if you've seen the videos, you literally tap them like once or twice and it pops to your head.
To your head.
That's insane.
Yes. Instead of flinching away. Yes. Continue.
Exactly. It doesn't pop it up. It literally clicks back to your head. So even if you weren't on the head to begin with, it flinches to your head. It's insane. It's insane. So it's just like that meta right there because I am so primary focused, especially with my hand cannon. Like the amount of times I two-tap somebody to the head and whether it was a cheater or whether it was just somebody legit because of the flinch pattern, it would just click right to my head and then I'd be dead.
Was that beloved? Was that the beloved though? Was that what
you do? So that was like the worst for me when you literally went into even just a sixes match and you just saw scopes after scopes after scopes. And nobody wanted to primary, man. I'm sitting here like just shining my shoes, just waiting. waiting for, you know what I'm saying, like,
Mm.
I don't know. Jimmy Billy 926XXX. You know, just maybe primary.
I feel
Like, I
you,
literally
brother.
changed my name quite a few times during that season. Primary me, comma, you coward.
Yo!
Literally calling people out in the match, be like, come on.
That was me.
I feel that. I felt that to the core.
And that is the origin also of the, like, when I started calling people cowards as well. Is when folks just won't primary me. They just won't. So.
Salute the physics for being messy. Salute, that was Sonny. He changed his name to let them know. I know what y'all doing. I gotta call y'all out and explain. I gotta name and shame y'all on what y'all doing out here.
When I changed my name to that right there, a few more people primary me. You know, a few more people do actually stick around for those fights. You know? Respect. Oh, sorry for the tangent. I had to get that question though.
That's
from
honestly,
some PvP. I don't get these conversations a lot, so it was good to hear the same level of frustration that I had.
Just saying.
I mean, that's one of those, when you go through 7 years of Destiny, you've lived through like the Thorn, the glowing green screen Thorn. You've been through those times. You've been through laser tag. You've been through all of those moments where you're like, yeah, stuff was a little busted for a little while. And we've been through all of these waves, but also it's just one of those things, how long some of them last. Like the one-eyed mask meta.
Oh,
that one lasted. Like, I don't know of a whole lot of people that were like, oh no, that's totally fine. Like the whole Twitter that I follow was like, yeah, this is broken for a year. And then finally it comes around. And every so often you're like, I know you guys have a lot of data. And I know you guys read the community, and then there's Reddit and Twitter. Still? And those are some of the times when you have to wonder, what is taking so long? And sometimes they've said the technicality of like, well, if we do this one thing, it's going to break 6 others and like completely nerf it into the ground. But then sometimes they'll literally gray out something because it's so busted. So I always wonder, again, comes back all the way around to love to be a fly on the wall for some of the decisions sometimes, because some things last a while, like Rockets took a year to get a buff. Versus on the other side, you've got stuff in PvP that'll get turned off in like a day.
Yeah, or even swords. Swords weren't here that long.
Preach.
They really weren't here. Like,
they weren't that long. You're right.
I think that swords. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like swords were like likely the most effective heavy that we've seen in Destiny 2. Like, period. Just the most effective. We're not talking about just with bosses. We're talking about just across the board. It literally allowed swords. And the ports that we have on swords, like, literally allowed folks to more easily solo things. For example,
absolutely,
absolutely.
So to see those nerfed like so soon, I'm sure it was based on usage numbers, since they were, since they're so strong across like D2. When they became prevalent, I'm sure those usage numbers said, "Oh, okay, we probably need to tone this back." But I would have liked to have seen this for like a little bit longer.
Me too.
I mean, even me as a PvP player, not even like a PvE main, I was really enjoying like going in and trying to solo some shit. Because I knew I had like a really strong tool that would allow me to take down champions in particular.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've gone through and done countless videos of soloing lost sectors and stuff. That's my usual guidance, is trying to solo stuff generally. So when you have something, a lot of the times especially, and it's been a weird thing from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 for me, is I generally don't feel like I have enough DPS as one player. And that's one of those things. And granted, Esoteric will prove me wrong every time with a hand tied behind his back, but he's just a monster. So we know that.
He's not human. He's not human. Man's an android. Salute the Esso. Salute the Esso.
Yeah. But that's just one of those two. The sword was a nice, I like the risk reward aspect of it. And I think when it comes to the boss fights and getting in there, whether it was, Pit of Heresy, you're like, I got to be in there, but I also know I have to build specifically around. And that's why I like that one sword perk that was on an artifact, where if you're wearing a sword and you equip the sword, you're going to take a little less damage. Like while you have.
Guard?
Yeah, passive guard. Yeah. So it's like when you're up close and I'm sitting there wailing on the Pit of Heresy Zolmak boss, and this one explodey thrall makes it through my bubble of blindness and he like blows up next to me, I'm not instantly going to get nuked for that one like just crap moment. And it was but again, you can't run anything else when that happens. You're using that like 6 or 7 tier thing you get to play. And that's one of those little builds I got to enjoy. And it just seems swords got nerfed once, and then now with Lament, and then a couple more times. It was a fun style, and it's one of those things you see come into a game like Destiny. I'm like, we had them in D1, but we only had exotics. I'm like, legendary swords, let's see how they do. And they actually ended up being fun. And unfortunately now I think the fun, they're they're pulling away from it again. And I've heard some people in my chat just say, you know, it's like, can you stop stealing my fun? Now that's a balancing thing sometimes, but it's like, it's a phrasing when you again experience something like Outriders, like it is so brokenly fun of how many things can be going on, but it's also the way they scale and manage. It still feels like they make you powerful enough to barely handle all the stuff they throw at you. And I kind of enjoy that balance of like being on the brink of dying half the time. And the sword was always that kind of risk reward jump in. Did I get the smash? Can I get back it? Like those moments were fun. And it's like when you're a little farther away or just shooting a hand cannon at a boss, it doesn't feel like it does anything. And that's kind of when you feel like you're a bit in the moment. So yeah, swords are fun. And I'm with you that I'm sad I see him go.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think also like keep in mind as well, like we got the sword, we got the fun, you know, and now we might be back to like rockets or sitting back a little farther too. So, I mean, some of it is kind of just like, you know, we got to experience that high, right? Right. Really getting in the fight, really getting in the engagement, like deep in, high risk, high reward, exactly what you said. And now we're back to, you know, like the best DPS is kind of like sitting back and, you know, so it's not
snipe, auto rocket.
It's not an easy balance. It's not an easy, you know, like reward balance, you know, for Bungie to manage. I certainly don't want to make it seem like, oh man, this is easy. You should have just kept swords here.
All you got to do is.
I'm not saying that, you know, but all I am saying is, you know, I would have liked to see like swords, you know, hang in there a little bit longer. But I definitely understand, you know, usage wise and meta wise why they ended up flipping it.
Yep.
I hear you, brother.
Well, I was like outside of course, PvP. We got the world of Guardian games.
Yes.
Not too far away around the corner. Before even going to what's coming, before we knew about any changes, you guys knew it was coming on the calendar. What were your thoughts going into this pre-announcement? You guys like, hey, Guardian Games is coming back. You're like, I'm just going to be in trials on the weekends. What's Guardian Games? Like, where were you on the spectrum of excitement for Guardian Games before we got the news of what's coming?
Physics, where you at with it, man?
Yeah, you know, Guardian Games is definitely one of those activities for a PvP main where, I mean, at least for me, where I'm just like, whatever. Yeah. I mean, that's basically what I'm at with it. Because I'm not going to spend a lot of my time in the activities that, like, okay, so if I was to contribute, for example, like my contribution would have to be pretty squarely in line with the activities that I already engage in.
Right.
So considering Guardian Games, there's not a lot of overlap, you know, like the activities that contribute towards, for example, hunters winning or something like that. It's not as if I'm going to be in those activities, engaging in those specific, you know, points or whatever else, you know, very often. I would have to actually go out of my way to do that. And with my schedule, I'm not really going to be doing that, basically. So it's not to say that I don't enjoy it as an activity, and I think it's worthwhile to be here because I do definitely think that it does. I think it's particularly whimsical, the nature of Titans and how they just want to win. Like,
shout out to the Titans.
Titans, man, I'm telling you, these days there's nothing in Destiny that cracks me up more than like Titans. They just, I don't know. It's just something special about the personalities of the folks that play Titan as a name. Like, it's just, I love it. It's endearing. Yeah, see, look at me. I know you are. Don't worry. As soon as you say "go figure," to be honest, to be honest, you know, as soon as you said "go figure" was like your main for like a little bit, I was like, got it. That's a Titan. Right?
That's a Titan. That's a Titan.
That is 100% a dad right there. Dad gamer. Dad gamer in the building.
Yes, but, I love this.
On the real, like,
called out.
It's one of those activities for me where you know I enjoy kind of like sitting back and looking in and seeing.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on with it, but not something that, you know, I'm necessarily actively engaging in. You all right there, E?
He's checking things out.
And make sure you go figure something out.
Yeah, look, man, I'm with you.
About 20K on that Lord of Wolves. Man.
Oh, yeah.
I actually didn't use Lord of Wolves. I never really got on that one, I'll be honest. But I did have about 40K on my Go figure, so I'm definitely guilty as charged. It's fair. What about you? Cognito, can you even recover after that? Because I'm dead over here.
That I was dead. He went in. He's so funny. It was hilarious. Yeah, I mean, look, same thing as physics. I mean, you know, it was one of those things when you look at the roadmap and you go, yeah, okay, all right. You know what I mean? And, you know, out of respect, I'll see it. I'll try it. You know, The trailer looked fun. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, whimsical. It was, okay. The very SRL-ish kind of suits, by the way. I don't know. Very, very SRL vibe. I just wish there was an activity that would actually use those suits. But, that they just neither here nor there. But now, look, at the end of the day.
That's matter.
Yeah, it's fun bragging rights. We're going to get, that's probably matter. That's fun bragging rights. We'll get into the specifics in a few. But, look, I'm willing to see, what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, all right, let's see what the changes are, how different it was, and then we're going to get into the percentages of class winning versus population. I'm very curious how they're going to handle that. I know, E, you'll get to it. And, let's just see what it is. And part of me, the only curiosity is, for me, it's always going to be the loot, the reason why I'm going to be in there.
Exactly.
So, that is going to be key in this catalyst that we're going to talk about. It better do something for me to be that invested. You know what I'm saying? Because that gun, I wasn't really using like that anyway, but we'll see.
Yeah. And just to springboard for like a quick second, you said it exactly right. Like, that's how you get anybody into any activity in this game, really, is the loot. Like, you will definitely see me get those armor sets, all three of them.
Oh, factual.
So that's like, sure, I'm looking in, to like the main, like specifically when I think of Guardian games, I'm always thinking about the podium, right? Like which class is going to win or whatnot. But of course, I will definitely get in for the loot. That's just the main reason why anybody gets in. It's a loot shooter, right? So kudos to Bungie yet again for providing some excellent loot. That's going to get even me, involved in it to some degree. So loot.
That's it, 100%, brother. 100%. I'm with you.
So how much are you going to be dropping at Eververse this weekend or next weekend?
I play the game enough. Most times I don't have to drop much more than Bright Dust.
Bright Dust. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Gucci.
Yeah, I'll be in
there.
Well,
that works. I mean, for me, we joked about it when the calendar came out. We're like, oh, here we go. Like, I mean, last time, obviously, we went through, all the bounties and Titans got the hell because they thought they were cheating and turning too much in. But it was so much like, go grab your bounty, go punch your abilities, pick up your laurels. Like, it got really repetitive for a while, and then everybody lost it because they're like, well, Titans seem to be winning every day, what the hell? And then it just really fell off pretty fast last time around. So, at least with regards to the classes, they do have a specific change of what they're trying to do with that. And they said, hunters definitely have more of a population. It's just period, it's there. That is the standard of the game's population. So they state this time around, due to the difference in classes, they said this year, whatever class comes in third place gets a permanent 10% bonus to scoring going forward through the rest of the event. So if Titans have the smallest population, us Crayon Eaters just kind of killed ourselves off. It's fine. If that happens over the course of, a week, if we're in third place, then we're getting 70% more points going into the next, going into that forward 2 weeks. So it is 10% for whoever's in third place. And at some point, if I turn in 1 gold medal and you turn in 1 gold medal, even if there's, 50% less of me, I'm going to catch up. So they said data-wise, from if they applied this to previous year's data, they said it was pretty competitive. So as I said, we'll be very curious to see how that hands out. Do you guys think that's a fair enough way to where, like, if you're third, you're always getting a little bit more? Do you think second place might get screwed? Do you think it might even out in the end?
I defer to the mathematician and scientist.
Yeah, it's tough to say, right? Like, I'm not going to be doing all that math in my head, and I certainly don't have access to all their data from last year or the year before. Of course, hopefully, I'm sure they thought about this, the fact that last year's data was a bit skewed based on what happened with regards to, like Titans, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. Like, I'm sure that they ran their algorithms. I'm sure that they ran their math. And I'm sure that it wasn't just based off of last year's numbers as well, something a little more standardized, like the year before. It's interesting. I say it's just interesting. I think that it is justifiable, most definitely, based on pop numbers, to have some sort of buffer in there, to have some sort of catch-up mechanism, especially for folks that are just inherently behind, just based off of pop numbers per class. So it'll just be interesting to see, and I'm glad that they continue to try to mess around with the algorithm to make sure that classes stay in there. If we're going to have Titan Warlock Hunters going against each other, then we're going to need to have some algorithm at some point in order to kind of normalize things.
Like the big brain idea would be for the all the hunters to try and talk to each other, sandbag for the first little while, get that boost, and then come in with all the population numbers and just steamroll everybody. But
that's never gonna happen.
I know that take way too much coordination.
Well, it's take way too much coordination, but we're all still not hunters, you know.
Oh.
But let's be real. The hunters are just in it for themselves. Like,
they are the soloists.
Are you implying that they are the selfish guys?
Massive egos too. Let's be real about that too. We talk about this on the channel like quite a bit. Look, we all know. You know, we all know. Look, we don't just segue for like a quick second.
Let's do it.
Egos, like massive fucking
massive egos, bro.
You are more likely to get bagged by a hunter. You might get bagged by a titan, but it'll be playfully. You know,
a playful type bag.
Like a hunter will literally shit on your life, emo, bag, whatever else, and they will in person, like they will be thinking shitty thoughts about you. Like a titan don't think about, like they just bag you and go about their business and go on to the next person or whatnot. You know, hunters like they just think too much of themselves.
Yes,
and like they're selfish with their time too. There's no coordination that's coming from hunters whatsoever.
So what's a warlock gonna do? Like read you your eulogy? Is that how that one works?
If warlock is gonna do anything, they're gonna create like a Reddit post. And they're going to coordinate in secret until the end, you know? Like, they're the big brains, but they don't ever really show it. You know, it's that low-key shit. Like, that's what
they're passive-aggressive. There you go.
A locked Reddit post, and it's warlocks in there, and they're going to coordinate that bitch. And then they might come back from behind, but we'll see. I don't know. I just don't know whether warlocks can come away from their books too much to even really care.
Yeah, we be in our books. We be in the books, though.
You know, so that's kind of my thing. And Titans, like, you saw what Titans did last year? Like, they just try to prove they're the best. You know? Period. They're just trying to prove they're the best.
I can easily go with this.
Frustrating, incredibly frustrating. Yo tunes out the ass, but
where's Justin at? Where's Justin?
Where IRL Titan that was Titan, man.
He drops me. I swear to God, he comments like a Yo tune on my post at least
every day. Well, just see, I'm following you and him.
He waiting for that catalyst.
I'm telling you. You know, so it's just like it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But I definitely, to get back on subject, I definitely think that population wise, there needs to be something with regards to an algorithm to normalize things. I think I'm glad that Bungie continues to experiment to make sure that the thing that matters most in the competition is folks' effort towards the dub, as opposed to, you know, being already kind of inherently behind based off of something that they can't control, i.e. Population numbers.
Yep.
So, So I was excited to see it. I did read through that part of the post, and I was excited to see that they're continuing to kind of keep that in mind. Because if they weren't, then
we
have it.
The dub would be pretty much nothing based on pop numbers.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, the big ones is it's all going to be based on medals. You've got your bronze, silver, and gold, your standard activities, your strikes, your crucible, public events. Who knows where we're going to get these? We'll probably figure out once we get in there. The big ones, new ones, are going to be the platinum medals. Platinum medals are going to be based around trials, competitive, and nightfalls. So you got 2 PvP, 1 PvE. So it actually does work for the PvP players to have time that they may not be, want to go run strikes or raids or anything like that. But if you run trials cards, I'll be curious if they cap the platinum at a certain number for the week, or is it like, is this your platinum for the week? Like you run a trials card, you do a certain number of things.
Also, I want to know the points on the trials.
In over and over. Do what?
I also want to know the disparity as far as the trials, being that it's a limited weekend event versus someone that's doing Nightfall. So what's the disparity there? Like, what's the advantage?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you have to do 10 Nightfalls versus,
right.
10 rounds won in a trials matches or something? Like, what's the difference going to be? That I'm curious, because you have the time limited sake. They also give you comp as well for the PvP. So again, we'll see if that's the same thing with rounds or how they do that. But those are going to be the 2 specifics. And if you do those 2 or 3 platinum activities, you get a chance at a special glow. You get an all-star glow.
Okay.
So every Friday they're going to have their ceremony for the week, the kind of closing ceremony for the week's activities. So we'll start on Tuesday. So that Friday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if you want that first all-star glow, you're going to need to go do one of those platinum activities. Obviously, trials won't be there yet, so it might be comp, might be nightfalls. Then that will last your glow for the week. So that's where your class emblem is going to end up showing bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. That's going to be kind of a weekly basis, more for looks than cosmetics.
Right.
But on a daily basis, depending on who is in first, second, or third, the main thing that they're adding this time around is the Guardian Games Vanguard Strike playlist. and they're changing it up to be truly class specific. So if I go queue up for
that's
strikes,
interesting. That's interesting.
it's all Titans. It's
That's
all Warlocks.
interesting. I kind of like that. Yeah.
So they finally got that one focused up, and the main reason is the laurels that are going to be your currency to buy sparrows and ghost shells and these challenge cards and stuff like that. Those are all going to be with laurels. So if you run into this playlist, that's where you're going to acquire most of them, because working with the same class, if you pick up the same class laurel, you get bonuses. So it's going to be advantageous for you to run into this playlist, because that's probably where you're going to farm a lot of them. Since everybody's going to be the same class, it's like, would you stop dropping Hunter and Warlock things? I need Titan ones. Like, now everybody's the same. And the interesting thing is they actually added modifiers. So depending on, and it's a daily change. So, you know, at first Hunters may have, you know, the gold early on, but as soon as the population numbers catch up, hopefully the variants will happen pretty soon. If you have gold the previous day, you're going to have extra health, extra shields, and recovery. And also your kinetic weapon damage is increased. If you're silver, melee abilities recharge faster, elemental damage is increased from guardians, and more heavy ammo is available. And if you are bronze, if you're struggle bussing, which I'm sure I will be at first, grenade abilities deal more damage and recharge faster, so I'm guessing Grenadier will be on, and elemental damage will be increased from guardian sources. So the buff tends to escalate the lower down the rankings you are. And then on the other side, there's negative modifiers. So the higher you finish, the harder stuff working against you. So if you're gold, you're going to have 2 negative modifiers applied that basically come from the other classes. So the Titans are based around the melee attacks that come in. Warlocks are based on airborne damage, and Hunters based around radar. So say Warlocks are gold, Titans were silver, and then Hunters were bronze. Well, the Titans would apply to a Warlock group. Melee attacks deal significantly more damage, and then the Hunter would disable your radar. If the Hunters went into the strike, they would have no modifiers against them. So that's the general idea, is the better you finish, you're going to have some buffs, but the worse you finish, the easier it is going to be for you to sit there and farm and get some more of that stuff up. I wanted to see your guys' thoughts on what you guys think about that. Does this excite you to go into the strike playlist? Do you think it's going to, you know, run out of steam, be like, that was cool for a day type thing? Where you guys fall in physics? You're obviously the guest. What do you think so far?
I thought it was interesting. Like for me, a PvP main, you know, the PvE activities that excite me the most are going to be the most challenging ones. So I actually kind of like the fact that we have some additional modifiers, something that I actually have to think about a little bit. And I'm curious to see how the buffs are going to play with the debuffs as well. You know, I thought about that a little bit. So, you know, if you're in gold place, for example, you're going to take more damage while you're airborne, but also on top of that, you're going to have more, health and shields as well. And I thought it was interesting as well that if you're gold, then that means that you're going to have to, I mean, your kinetic weapons do more damage, but also kinetic weapons as a whole do less damage than, you know, special weapons, grenades and abilities and things like that. So, you know, it's an interesting balance. It definitely intrigues me. I will definitely jump in there and see what the deal is. What I actually like the most, to be honest, out of this, is the fact that you jump in with your same class.
The same class. I like that. That's fine.
That shit got me.
That's fine. I go for it.
Can you imagine like Titans just like bumping shoulders with the brothers, you know, and just jumping in the strike? You know how hype that gets folks, like Titans in particular, when they hop in and they see all Titans. I mean, just hop into a strike now, and it's just like, oh, we're all Titans, you know? Oh, we're all Hunters. It just, that camaraderie, you know, and to a negative degree, that tribalism, I guess you could say as well. But that camaraderie is kind of a cool feature. It's kind of a cool feature, and I think that folks will be a little more excited about the mode because of that, because you know you're in there. You all kind of have the same objectives with regards to Guardian games, and so you're all going to kind of like push each other. I thought that was really cool. That was the most exciting thing for me. But you know, a close second, most definitely, is I enjoy challenging PvE. It keeps me engaged because in general, I find PvP substantially more challenging than PvE, simply off of the variety that you can get engagement-wise versus the variety that you can get in PvE. So the more challenging PvE, the more I'm going to be engaged in it. And so I like the idea of the modifiers. I do like the idea of the modifiers. I think it throws an extra dynamic in there with regards to folks that are leading, not getting complacent, you know, in that gold position, because they know that not only modifiers are on, but also they know that the folks that are in the last place, for example, got that extra 10%, et cetera, et cetera. You know, folks aren't going to get complacent. So Hunters may be in the lead to start, but as usual, Hunters get lazy and they get cocky.
He going in on Hunters.
They gonna win. They just gonna win. We got this dub in the bag. It's just Hunters just being Hunters. You know? We got these egos, right? So,
I love it.
You know, so easily. I hope folks realize so easily. You know, you get that gold. That shit can be taken away based off, like I said, the modifiers. And so, I think it's really cool. I look forward to seeing how those buffs, debuffs play off of each other. I look forward to seeing the dynamic between folks hopping into strikes with their brothers and their sisters. I think it's dope.
Yeah, I think you said it best, Fezzik. Yeah, same thing. You know, the extra mechanic, the 10%. You know, that the buffs, the debuffs. I just love that balance. Like you said, just not having that complacency at the top just because you won. You know, whatever. And the strike playlist, man, as a Warlock being the Warlock delegation, we got our books out, we chilling. And look, it's gonna be dope because I could get there, I could run my Dawnblade, I could run what's my mask, my buggy eye mask with Top Tree, I could do that. Or we could go Stasis, you know, Well of Radiance. I got different flows. The Arc Bros are out, like Nova Bro. It's gonna be fun to see just your class in a strike. Yeah. And I think that's cool. And shout out, you know, like I said, shout out to Stasis as well. We'll see what's up with that. I got some cool builds with the little what is it, turret, Stasis turret.
So you're gonna have like 6 turrets and arc buddies. Just do you guys are just walking forward, mowing it all down.
Get real toxic. Go with the the getaway artist, and also go with what's my post? No time to explain. We can get real dirty with it, you know, like, whatever. We got a lot of things we could do, man. But look, at the end of the day, it's fun. This is a nice, cool debate. I'm very curious to see how strong the debuffs are in actuality. You know, when you're out there in the playing field and stuff like that. But look, I like that they're attempting. They're attempting to do different things with this mode, and I think it's fun. It sounds fun. I'm willing to give it a shot. What about you? How did you sound about it?
I mean, for me, New Rad probably said the one thing that I wanted to say is they're finally working on a way to make it to where you're not working against your fellow guardians in your activity.
Good point.
Like,
good point. Good point.
I'm not like, I'm trying to get all the kills because I want all the laurels that I can get from my class as opposed to, I don't want to see those colors on the ground. It's just going to be the only color you want to see the whole time. Doesn't matter who's get it, just working together. And I think that's a positive piece because it always feels like all of these things we're doing, it's always like, how fast can somebody go through the strike so they get all the kills to do their bounties and leave everybody else in the dust? And now it does seem that collaboration will benefit everybody as opposed to leaving people in the dust. You might have somebody that goes a little faster, but it's not working against your other teammates. It's all kind of collaborative. So I'm hoping that continues into the bounties because that's the other piece of it is like, you need to get this. Be like, in strikes, your fire team is what I hope to read because that would be the other piece is like, you need 100 kills. Your fire team needs 500 kills. I would much rather see the fire team needs more working together and, you know, assisting everybody than I need to get 100 critical kills or snipers because that's just more annoying for me to be very, oh, no, they shot that. Oh, no. Different people are going to be totally fine. Like, I can go through and get my crits totally and that's fine. But on the other side, somebody playing a little slower, trying to enjoy the event for free, they don't want to feel hamstrung just because they're not as fast as the people who are burning through everything. So I'm hoping the other side of the bounties is kind of thought of as well. But overall, just the positive group effort, I like.
Yeah, it's also going to increase the diversity as well. So for example, 100, okay, as a fire team, you get 300, 100, whatever sniper kills or whatnot. Oh, well, this person's got a sniper on right here. He's like put on a pulse for this other bounty. You know, so it's just like, it encourages diversity as well. And folks don't feel the pressure to necessarily put on a gun that they don't want to put on. You know, or that somebody else has on. Everybody now we got 3 snipers. You know, trying to snipe out Chi or something like that. When I can on like a machine gun or something. I don't know. So I like it. I think it's super fun. Definitely into this.
Absolutely. The loot's looking cool. Yeah, man. I'm definitely willing to give this stuff a shot and see how this thing goes out, man. But yeah, I like it. It's a cool little concept where you don't feel like you're working against each other.
Yep. Next piece is going to be the medal case, of course. It's going to be where you're going to store in your medals you get from your contender cards, things like that. Big thing to know for anybody who listens to this, who sees it, who listens to my video, watch the medal case capacity. They have a limit to them.
Okay.
And if you acquire a medal, once you're at capacity for, say, like, hey, it can hold 5 golds. I have no idea I'm making this number up. And you get another gold, like, into your character when this is full, you lose it. So watch your capacity big time, especially triumphs. If you're going to go and, click on the triumphs to get everything that you've done, make sure your case is empty and don't overfill it. It's the biggest thing I just wanted to say. Check your capacity, watch the metal case, turn stuff in frequently, make sure it doesn't overfill so you don't lose things, because triumphs, you only get it one time, especially if it's like a platinum, give your class the best chance it can, don't lose stuff. The contender cards, they said this year they're introducing a new way to earn points for your team called contender cards. You'll be able to pick these up from EVA in exchange for laurels, hence why you're going to want to play that strike playlist to pick all those up. Completing objectives and strikes, Crucible Gambit will earn a gold medal upon completion. There's also a special platinum medal that I was talking about. Will focus on completing objectives in Nightfalls, Survival, and Trials. This will be the only way to earn a platinum medal. Completing a platinum will earn you the all-star status, as I talked about before, for the next podium ceremony. Make sure you complete the platinum contender card before daily reset on Friday. So before 10 a.m. Pacific on Friday, if you want that all-star status for the weekend. And it's still a cosmetic glow, but that's the general idea. So just watch the capacity of the metal case. That's the only thing that I've read that you could, if you just sit there and be like, oh, I've done like 20 cases. Why do I only have 5 still? Just watch that. I just wanted to make sure and shout that one out.
Good point.
Podium ceremony. Basically every weekend there's a ceremony that they're going to do. Third is bronze. Obviously, you got your different glows. All-stars get the platinum. So even if your class does get bronze,
you can
if you at least go for some of those harder activities, you can have at least the all-star glow and look good, even if your class is, having some struggles.
Yeah, factual.
That's a very nice way to put it.
Very nice.
I mean, I'm trying to be reasonable.
Very diplomatic, sir. Continue.
Diplomatic is the way to say it. I would have said different.
If you suck it,
that's
still nice.
Trash.
If you get shit on,
there it is.
You might want to step it up a little bit.
I was like,
you got a little glow. So
first week, Hunter's going to be shitting on everybody till that bonus kicks in. So that's kind of going to be a thing. So give it time. That's the other piece too, as like, I hope in game, because not everybody reads the Bungie blog, look at Twitter or YouTube. If they see Hunter, they're like, oh, they ran the board with it. I'm hoping they do something, and this is one thing I wish they would do a little bit more. I like the pop-up messages sometimes, but like make it very specific and say, it is going to be a 10% increase every day. I wish they would kind of show how close, just to know that stuff is in reach. Because if they see 4 victories for Hunters straight away, some people may be like, I got my, heir apparent, I'm out. So that's just one of those things I do hope they show in game somehow. So we'll see.
One thing I will say that helped like last year, which I anticipate is going to help again, is DMG is definitely going to be hyped up on Twitter.
Yep.
Like giving us obviously like Hunters better watch out. Warlock's coming up. Titans coming up, et cetera. So, but I do agree. I wish there was something kind of like some sort of notification in game or some sort of. It'd be dope just to have a board. Just like a board,
scoreboard,
festivity, scoreboard or something like that. So we could see kind of like progress.
You can almost see.
I'm picturing now they had the flags. They had the flag.
They had the flags, but I would say for that like daily bonus, I'm picturing like basketball game too much. I'm picturing like foul lights.
Okay.
Like every bonus you get a little like some little indication underneath to be like you're on bonus 7, and now you're seeing that thing fluctuate a little bit more. So some little in-game indication to be like, you've got the bonus. You got the bonus. And you're like, okay, even though we're not doing as well, we're making progress. So that'd be little in-game indication would be nice.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
No doubt.
So we got the armor sets, of course. We got our special glows for the armor this time around. You guys got like the bird, the handguard. You got the nice little pop the collar going on. Our butt towel is still our butt towel. It's never going to change. Hunters with the cloak. But the nice thing is they said about the gear this time, and especially the universal ornaments, they take shaders well.
Nice.
And I think that's one thing they really worked on is their new kind of shader tech is actually applying to these unique armor. Not quite as like, hey, on Guardian games, you can still look how you want to shader-wise. So these ornaments, maybe you may be emptying some bright dust to get these if you got it, or dropping $1 or $2 if you need to.
Warlock delegation, we're not pleased with the Warlock.
Are you not? I'm asking. I heard some people like the Warlocks one. So
all right, the ornament, no doubt, we got the bird. All right, but that fake little cape tail thing, I'm not really feeling the 2-piece, 3-piece suit thing going on. I'm not there with it. Like the Titan look clean. I'm looking at the Titan. I'm like, all right, I like the Ornament set. Honda look, look clean, nice little long, It's something about that. We look, you know what it remind me of? Remember, what was that set that we clowned the Titan E? It looked like he was so different from the other two.
One.
Yeah, I'm getting them type of vibes from this Warlock set. I'm not feeling it, bro.
Got left behind on this one?
Yeah, like so lately the Warlock. Look, we gotta talk to the artist, man. Lately, I feel like the Warlock lately been getting the short end to stick with these sets, man. I'm not.
I don't think you can really say that with that.
Which one?
That the bird wing like chest that the Warlock's got. That's literally like one of the best like the Eververse set for this season, I believe, right?
Oh no, that one was cool. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
That's
was cool.
That's gotta be like
I feel like the event sets, there's been a steady decline in the quality. Like I ain't care for the Dawning one. I've been like a decline on the Warlock. So we gotta speak to the Warlock delegation at Bungie, man. What's going on, man? We used to feel very majestic. I'm not feeling majestic, right? I gotta complain. Continue.
No, it's fine. You got your plushy Ghost. You got your new Sparrow that you can get from the Ghost. Looks kind of cool and sleek. I always like the colors on those.
Mm-hmm.
But Heir Apparent is your big exotic for this one, and you were wondering about the Catalyst, right?
Yes. So what does it do? What's going on?
The Catalyst will provide even beefier shields for you as you Cabal stomp your way through the battlefield.
Okay, so just more of a shield thing. All right.
Yeah, more substantial shield, I guess. They're probably trying to not make the minigun too powerful. But that's mostly it. It just seems like it's probably going to last longer, take more damage. Pretty straightforward. The ornament's not bad. The ornament on it definitely just plastered in, your Guardian Games ornament. That one's actually pretty cool. So that one's coming. I don't know why. I like the tennis ball, but the little like Gatorade thirst quencher, like little squeeze bottle ghost. For some reason, that one just cracks me up because it's like it's nailed. They nailed the like a couple of these cosmetics and stuff. The ships.
Yeah, that is funny.
The ships look, unfortunately for me, they look kind of generic. Like one kind of bullet. Like how many ships? I haven't paid attention to like what my ship is every so often. And be like, I'll just equip it. I never care too much about the ships. They don't do anything. So overall, not too much. But you do have rewards. So you got your track jacket that you can get if you complete the quest for the Sparrow. You've also got your gold pin. There will only be one. The winner of Guardian Games is the gold pin you can order. So outside of the statue, you'll actually be able to get the gold pin that you'll be able to, hoist up and order if you are a, pin collector for any of that stuff that you've got. So hate to cut you.
New Rad is saying that the Catalyst also, it says the arc shield durability and partially reloads the magazine if it's destroyed. That's kind of nice.
I haven't data mined it yet.
Oh, sorry. Well, man,
shout out to New Red, always knowing more.
He put the business out, man.
He's on the inside scoop. He's got tracked to like Light.gg's database, and he's on the inside. So.
Now you got to be excited. Continue.
No, but I mean, that's like, I'll wait to see it, but it's like, trust me, if he said it, I'd probably believe it because he seems to kind of check out that type of stuff. So again, if you the shield break actually reloads, that's actually not bad to keep you going because then if you fire, it'll spin back up. So
I have a question about the Heir Apparent because I've never used it before. Does that mean not only you get the shield, but if somebody hops in there, your teammate, your fire team member, like
I think it's specific to you.
I mean, it's like a little sphere around you, so theoretically, it's like at least in front of you. I would imagine if they're behind you, you should at least be tanking the shots a little bit. I would think.
I thought it was individual. I did think,
I thought it was individual inside the diameter of it.
But then again, I have not tested that, and I have not seen that.
Somebody
tested,
said no, it's a personal shield. Okay. So it's like more
shield.
of, I guess, an overshield. It may have a cosmetic look like on the screen, but I guess it's more of an overshield for you while you use it. Versus, say, as you said, a Titan deflector shield.
I will say this, Physics. I remember the first time I ever seen it was facing someone in PvP. And when they finally get Heir Apparent to ramp up it was scary. I was like, wow, they're tanking stuff. Yeah.
So that will be tankier. So if you see a, slow walk-in Titan walking around with a minigun and it's blue bubble, run the other way for a little while. Wait till he runs out of ammo and he'll be fine. You got a cool emblem. I actually kind of like the emblem that you get from it. You got the little Olympic rings thing going on and everything.
Yeah.
And then we've got the thrill of the chase. So you can, as Bungie rewards, if you get 76 out of 77 triumphs. I think you can do all but one triumph. Seasonal challenge to get that triumph. It kind of looks cool, but I wanted to ask you guys, how hard are you going on the seasonal challenges to check every one of those boxes? I didn't know if you guys were completionists or you're like, Some are done. I don't really care.
I'm good. I'm good.
PvP is by our very nature.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, what's it called? The only ones that I've checked off basically are the ones that just get checked off by the nature of me doing what I do.
Mhm.
But what I will say is that I am a little bit more incentivized to check more off the list because you get a decent amount of bright dust off.
Yep.
Yeah.
You do get a decent amount of bright dust off. And there are some things that are coming to, Eververse, whether it be, Guardian, Guardian stuff right now, or in the near future that I kind of might want to have some bright dust for. So I might have to actually go out of my way to do some I'm not going to take a GL. It's not me. It's not
That's you. No doubt.
but otherwise, I might take something else in, and go into some strikes or do whatever, to get a few more of those checked off.
Mhm.
But yeah, the bright dust is the biggest thing for me because there are some cool stuff coming to the store.
Nice.
Definite.
What about you, Cog? Have you checked a lot of boxes in there? You've been too busy with the world to try and keep up with that list.
Yeah, I ain't on that type of time. like I said, it's just not me. I mean, shout out to we always have Teddy. That's Teddy's lane.
Oh yeah,
we have Teddy on.
He had that done as soon as you could.
Like he's shout out to those guys. It just that's never been the allure for me when I play Destiny. So it's all good.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you want bright dust, you get 4,000 bright dust for checking them all, but the time investment to get there.
Yeah, the time investment.
I mean, the fact that some of them are not retroactive is, I think, what kind of killed it for me.
Yeah.
Because, like, one of them's, get a certain number of ranks in Gambit. You got to go through literally a full reset, and you have to do the same thing in Valor, and it takes, 15,000 if you don't catch it on a weekend. You better play that on the bonus Infamy weekend, so that's a key. But then later on, they're like, hey, now you need like 40 invader kills. And the stuff you did before didn't count. And I know they've done retroactive stuff. So that's one of those, at least in the seasonal challenge department, I'd like to see them make it retroactive. If I'm going to spend like 20 hours in Gambit, you damn sure better count my invasion kills if I got them over the course of the season. Because I don't want to do it again, and I won't.
Yeah.
Especially right now, hasn't been as much, and Outriders pulled me away for sure. But like, if you get to a point where it's like a busy season of gaming, I'm not going to go spend. I'll drop the $3 that I would have got for doing the one trap. I don't care that much. Like my time's worth a little more. So
for sure.
That's one of those. Just hopefully they'll take some of those. I know they are like, please spend more time in our game, and here's the way to do that. But on the other side, it's just not worth it sometimes.
The Outriders are showing you. You foul for that one.
No, it's like no game is perfect, and Outriders came out kind of busted. We know that, but there is some stuff from Outriders that I'm hoping, like Destiny is like, they did a couple things. They definitely did some things right, so I'm hoping they look. That's all I'm saying.
No, you speaking the truth.
I'm sure they are because they pulled. I mean, Outriders has pulled quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
right.
Their way.
Yeah,
so I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So we have a list of 12 weapons as candidates for your future ornaments, and you can go vote. I was curious what 3 you guys picked. Man, Cog's chomping at the bit.
Yeah, man. No, I got the email from Bungie, and Bungie had put this out. Yeah, so I put it. This was tough for me because a lot of these guns, I'm like, man. Some of them I had to eliminate because I'm like, damn, these ones already got some cool ornaments already. So I had to think, like Sunshot, I said no because I'm like, I like one of the red and gold giant. So I was like, nah, you kind of good. I'm Vigilance Wing biased. I was more like man Osiris. So I'm biased.
There's
so I was like, I was
already like
there.
3 of those.
But it was already, exactly. So I said, there's already a bunch of those. So I think what I did, I went with Graviton. I went with Trinity Ghoul because I was like, that is really effective. I want to ice out Trinity Ghoul. I think it needs a little bit more flavor. I like that.
Only reason I didn't do Trinity Ghoul is because there is one ornament. Trust me, I actually thought about it and crossed my mind. The only ornament they didn't change it much. I wanted it to be a drastic difference. I wanted it to look like a different bow. If it's just like, here's another paint job on the same thing, that didn't do it for me. I want these to like change the look of the gun or bow.
I think the third one I went because I did. It's 3 right.
I did what?
No, yeah, man.
It doesn't have one.
All right, Lamar. It doesn't have. I forgot about that. But
that's why.
I should have went there. You're right. I forgot about. I thought it had one, so I messed up there. So I think I ended up going.
Physics is like no.
Yeah, I messed up there. I'm sitting
patiently waiting for my turn.
Yeah.
I actually haven't excuse me, I haven't actually looked at this list yet, so
Yeah.
I was also just looking at the list and trying to figure out which 3 I would pick as well. So I'm just biding my time.
I think the third one, I'm almost done. I didn't go Crimson because I like Crimson has a nice one already that I feel is really cool.
Yeah.
I think the third one I went was like Merciless because I feel like the Merciless ones are kind of basic.
See, like you gotta buff that gun before you give me an ornament for it.
True. But I always felt like the green is plain Jane and they got a white one, and I'm like, they need to do something with it to make me like it.
Yeah. I was like, if these give, I will say, I think I'll give mine. I was like, I did Lay Monarch because I didn't have one. Graviton Lance because I just miss using that one. It's kind of fun.
Graviton, yeah.
I can't honestly. I'm trying to think of my third.
We should go with the third.
It honestly could have been Fighting Lion, and I know that hurts physics to his soul because he hates GLs. But
Fighting Lion gets a little bit of a pass from me.
Yeah, it's like so. Fighting Lion, nice.
Okay.
I think just because it's like I'd love to see them put a completely different cosmetic spin on it. So if they go like into the next season or something like I'd love to see it get a seasonal look because right now I mean it's mostly got its kind of Shine and Fighting Lion head, but if it went just totally off the wall, would be
totally
fun.
different.
Those I think were my 3.
What physics guy? I would have hit it.
What do you got?
Always got it with a Sunshot. I don't care if it's got like 50 ornaments or not.
Sunshot fire.
I mean, number one is the hand cannon.
It's fine. I already know. Come on, but that red and gold one is already crispy, bro.
It's not like I'm looking at it like I can get some extra.
You're like, I want some new hotness, old and busted. New hotness.
Got some dope stuff. Doesn't mean I want some extra. I want some extra.
All right.
I love Sunshine.
Well, 50 stand up.
It's one of my favorite exotics in the game, if not my favorite exotic in the game. Side note, before I go to the next 2, is
let's go.
I wish we would have gotten some exotic armor on this list. Or I wish, honestly, I would have preferred exotic armor as opposed to exotic guns.
Preaching, brother. You preaching. Continue.
Like, I would have preferred exotic armor. Because can we please get some Dragon Shadow that shades?
Oh,
can we
please?
Please, Bungie. I can't.
Bro.
I'm about to get loud. Please, Bungie. Please. Dragon Shadow.
Yes.
Please.
I agree.
Just make it look like it doesn't currently look.
Yeah, there's some that need a rework. Yes.
Because I would use that exotic much more, but goddamn, the game is the fashion.
Preach it.
I'm sorry.
You're speaking like a brother. You come over to the Warlock delegation full time, brother. You speaking like a Warlock. Have
you seen him move?
My Warlock looking fresh. My girl looking fresh. She looked like a true vamp. So we got to be styled out. We got to be ice styled on whatever character we're on for sure. But I do wish it was armor instead of the guns. But if it's got to be guns, it's got to be Sunshot. I'm with you on the Grab Lance. Although I will say Grab Lance has some really nice ornaments, But nonetheless, I would probably go with the Grab Lance. And then what would be my third? My third would probably be Vigi.
Vigi got a lot.
Vigi does kind of have a lot. I'm not gonna front.
They got the Zelda looking one. For me, it's gotta be like
they
got the Saint 14
that I enjoy using, and it's just like
Vigi's nice.
Vigi's nice.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the 3, and of course they're gonna end up, being. Hold on.
Ooh. Step back.
You saw something.
I'd have to toss in. I'm sorry, Risk Runner would have to go in for either Grab Lance or Vigi Wing. I'm not sure which one, but I think I'd probably toss Risk Runner in for Vigi Wing. It would have to be Grab Lance, Risk Runner, and Sunshot.
I wish we had like rough concepts of each one, so we know kind of a little more. Because right now it could be like, hey, Graviton Lance is like it has a kind of a cool one. Are we going big aesthetic changes? Or are we going a paint stripe? Like I don't need the racing stripe on a gun. I want something bigger.
Almost like how they preview the monsters versus thing. And if we'd have got a little preview, so then we're like, okay, we getting this type of Vigi, I'm in. You know what I'm saying? Or we getting this type of Risk.
And that's where you might shoot for some of the duplicates.
I will say that's a lot of ornaments. That's a long list. List. I do wish that, while I agree with you, and that drives engagement, and I think that this right here, this little competition, like pick 3 or whatnot, would definitely go way farther if they ended up doing exactly what they did for the 2 different armor sets, for sure. But they should just shrink the list down.
Yeah,
shrink the list down, and then give us some concept art.
Yes,
and then that would have gone like massively far as engagement with this particular little competition and whatnot.
I agree.
Or they could have just given us like 3 different Dragon Shadow ornaments,
and you'd have been good. You'd have been good.
I mean, come on, Dragon Shadow, please.
You're like, can it just look different? That's it. Just different. That's all I
got
want.
some exotics like that, man. It's just like, I just can't wear it because it just.
There's no ornament that even if it does have an ornament, there's no ornament that can truly even help it.
Yeah. You know? Shout out to what's that joint with the fusion grenade? Starfall Protocol is one of them on that list for me. There's a couple that as a warlock, I'm like, bro, they gotta fix that. It's just not looking good out here.
You know, and I know, don't get me wrong, you know, some of them kind of like play up to it a little bit. The jesters,
I
mean, the jesters are the jesters.
That's the jesters.
Supposed to look like a fool. Supposed to look like a fool. You know, so I mean, I dig it, but Dragon Shadow, Lucky Pants to some degree as well. Like,
I feel you.
Come on.
I feel you.
I look like a spotted leopard.
You don't want that leopard print underwear going on?
Leopard print cowboy? No, I'm good on that. Good on that.
Salute.
That would be too funny if they just went. Those are some of the times, and that's why I went dinosaur over monster. When Destiny doesn't take itself too seriously and is just like, this looks ridiculous at some of the times that I really enjoy it when they're like, yeah, this is probably not really in this game universe. We just don't care. Every so often, those are fun. Like, this is so broken and dumb looking, you're gonna laugh, and that's part of the fun.
I feel
you gotta respect it.
And let's be honest too. You know, like I'd much rather wear like a Dragon Shadow. Rock a Dragon Shadow-esque ornament for a gun versus my gear.
Yes,
you know, I will say that. So you can make my gun look like a fool, and I'll still probably mess with it. You know, but yeah,
I agree.
There's a reason why I don't rock Dragon Shadow, even though I do feel like
going in on Dragon Shadow. You going in?
That is a hard pass by this man.
I'm looking fresh. I'm looking fresh out on the field.
Hey, Cog respects that. He is.
You know I'm about that.
And I end up losing the round and maybe even losing the game of trials. You know, like I may to some degree regret it, but I really don't. I really don't.
I'm with you, brother. You gotta look good. Gotta look good to play good.
Gotta look good. Hey, there you go. Gotta look good. I lost, but I look clean as fuck. I'm just saying.
You're like, see this picture? Still looks good, even if I
still
lost.
Looks good. Still looks good.
I'll still clip it.
Woo! Love it. No doubt.
But that ADS can look like trash as long as it hits him, right?
Hey. Especially if we got a nice long barrel.
Oh yeah. Facts.
Extra long. That's the key.
Facts. That's what we talk about.
Oh man. So as we wrap up, one last thing I kind of wanted to ask you is, as for the future of this game, obviously we have a lot of speculation on it. If there is, say, do you have a top 1 or 2 things right now that you think are, you know, if you could do the easy button, not the armchair developer, worry about all that stuff, but if you could change in the game, be like, put ranks in quick play, like what is like the 1 or 2 things for your world of Destiny that you would like to see? Is there a way for your, like, you know, Sunday customs to have a bit more, you know, viability, or a spectator cam or something? Like, what are things that would benefit you specifically that you'd like to see more short term than, say, Destiny 3, or maybe like Witch Queen somewhere in there?
Okay, so we asked specifically me or benefit the game as a whole?
I mean, either, whichever, you, I mean, you know, are you benevolent to the general public, or you're like, this one's for me, you guys get one and I get one? I mean, however you want to do it.
I'm going to take community over everything. Because the thing is, if it ends up benefiting the community, I always believe it ends up benefiting the community, it always trickles down to the individual. Always.
That's true.
The number one thing I think for PvP, not necessarily number one, but a huge one, is you got to separate out the competitive folks, the really higher skill folks, from the casual folks. Like, it's time. It's time. There's no better time than right now in my mind. So we need a ranked. You know, we need a place for folks that are more experienced in PvP to be, so that they are not in quick play 24/7. You know, like driving folks that are just trying to either play very casually, or folks that are just coming into the game, like players, et cetera, that are super excited because the gameplay that they saw, you know, on this Twitch channel or this video or whatnot, but they aren't yet able to emulate, but they're working on it. But, you know, they just jump in and they don't even know what to do. Like, we need a separate place for that, because, you know, even like I said, somebody that's just been playing the game for like 5, 6, 7 years, substantially higher on the skill, you know, spectrum than somebody that just came in this year or something like that. Especially for the folks that don't have a lot of time necessarily to invest specifically in improvement-based Crucible. Especially for the folks, again, that just want to play a little bit more casually, and improvement is not necessarily the goal, just coming in and goofing off a little bit.
Yeah.
but they can't get any kills because of the way things are right now. So I think that a ranked, it's definitely time. It's definitely time. Because we can't, no matter what matchmaking and lobby balancing they end up putting in place, it continues to fall short of what is actually necessary. Yeah. So that is a community-wide like need, I feel like, for PvP right now, for sure, for the health of this community. And I think right now you can't balance for that. You can't matchmake balance for that. You can't balance weapons for that. Because I say it all the time, the really highly impactful weapons up, in a particular skill bracket may not be that big of a deal. DMT, Dead Man's Tale is not that big of a deal in my skill bracket, but in mid to low tier, it's a huge deal on PC right now. Huge deal, a huge annoyance. GL is the same sort of way. 120 is the same sort of way. It varies depending upon what skill bracket. And when we talk about specifically, the mid to lower skill bracket, like those are the folks we really need to make sure that, it's not necessarily about protection. It's just about giving folks different areas to play based on what their goal is for their gameplay. Yeah. That's number one. You. Preach. I think that's huge right now. I think that needs to be at the front, like very, very close to the front of the line. I don't know. Like the second thing is just, I don't know. Honestly, I think it's just I'm going to just go community wide. It's just our discourse. The way that we talk to each other, the way that we listen to each other, the way that we interact with each other and share our perspectives. Like people got to start listening. People got to start listening. It's not about one person being right or one person being wrong. It's just about like, look, I don't know your perspective because I don't play at your level on your platform with the weapons that you use. Right. Against the people that you normally play with or against, because I'm not in any of those places. I'm not in any of those places, and therefore, when you tell me, like when you open up, like honestly, respectfully, and you tell me, your experience in this particular avenue that, I'm talking about, that's in this particular context that I'm talking about, like, I need to listen. As a community member, if I'm actually trying to be here, I need to listen, and vice versa. We share those perspectives, we share those experiences. And I think that'll just go at least in my community, I see it. It goes a really long way to build that understanding, necessary to the point where when I see, like Justin come at me with the Yo tune, I'm not quite as like put off by it because I know Max is just having fun. He's always having fun. I know he truly enjoys the weapon, or this weapon or that weapon. It's just like when I see him, I see the joy that he gets from that. Yes. It doesn't put me off quite as much. It doesn't put me off quite as much, right? Things that used to frustrate me as much don't frustrate me as much anymore. Yeah. Fighting Lion is a really good example because I have some friends that are Fighting Lion connoisseurs. Once they gave me a few more details on, that actually takes a little bit of skill, like this detonation just right, like, okay, these are the damage numbers, Tony, like it's really actually quite rare that you one hit and things like that. And you give me some of the distinctions between that weapon and other breach loaded grenade launchers. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, Fighting Lion kind of gives me a pass now because you kind of explained not only why you love the weapon so much and so deeply and why you put like, tens of thousands of kills on a Crucible or otherwise, but also you just explained that, like there's a little bit of skill actually that's involved in it versus your truth tellers and whatnot. So I think, the discourse, the way that we talk to each other, the way that we try to accept other people's perspectives. I think that can just go a long way. So those are my two hopes, for the community. One for Bungie, with regards to ranked, separating out, playlists with regards to, what people's focus is in the game, and also just, let's just talk to each other better, accept some perspectives. It just goes a long way with everybody just changing their expectations and just being on a more level mindset, whenever they step into Destiny 2.
Yeah, I mean, we've had Teddy on before, and he said the same thing. It's the golden rule: treat other people the way you want to be treated. And it doesn't matter if you're hiding behind the veil of the internet. It's like, this is still a person on the other end that has a perspective about something. And if they're willing to have a civil discussion, as you've said, it could be a different perspective, but it also could open your eyes to one new piece of information that changes your perspective a little bit. And if we can take a little bit from everybody and learn. Now, granted, if somebody's like cursing, yelling, and screaming, they're not worth your time either. And those people sadly are out there. But on the other side, if somebody's willing to say, hey, I don't agree with your opinion, but here's why, read it, and then you can either have a logical discussion with them if they're willing to. And I like that piece of your community, especially in the way you handle yourself on Twitter and the way you bring that in, is I'm not going to get to the emotional side of this. I'm going to get to, you know, all of the detail, the nitty gritty, the feel, like, and try it. But I also want to know why, from my perspective, why does mine differ from yours?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of those big things that I think I agree. And then the rank thing too. It's like, that's one I think a lot of people, Ascendant Nomad did the video with Nearest and all that type of stuff. Some way to say, even if that person does step into like, you know, the ranked playlist, they're going to be down there in bronze 1. And even the average player who's played for 6 years of Destiny is still going to probably eventually like trickle up in to somewhere in, you know, that like silver 2. And yet there's stuff that's higher, but it gives you the progression. And then it's also one of those that you can hope to, you know, find that progression to go forward. I think that's one of those things. The glory and the valor is like a weird number. That's just literally like how much time have you put in? It's always been weird.
Right.
And the glory is the way it like doesn't go down that fast, but doesn't go up. But a true ranking system is like, you know, against the people in that kind of bracket, and you're like, oh, I'm slowly creeping up. And it just even gives the lower person, like, they may not get to platinum. Platinum may be too much, but if I can get out of bronze and I can get into silver, I can feel progression. And I think that would be something that would help a lot of people, as you said, give a lot of people their own, you know, realm to have a place to learn. As you said, like bronze versus platinum, there's a point where, like, some people will say, and I thought in chat there were differing opinions. Some people like, you know, bronze versus platinum isn't going to learn anything. And generally I agree with that, because there's a point where if I step in against, say, Kami Cakes, I played with him one time. I was lucky enough, I got dragged through a card and I watched, and I'm like, you are 10 steps ahead of my like mouse click on just moving forward. And it's like, I can't, but I was like, no, playing with somebody, that's different than watching a stream. But to take that and then go apply it, I need somebody closer to me to try and get a feel for that. So the ranked, that would be, I think that would go a long ways. And I don't know how hard it would be to implement, but we're not asking for a bunch of new map development. We're not asking for a bunch of new modes, just a way to classify the player base to give them a way to try and excel.
Yeah, I think you guys nailed it. I mean, for me, I'll just wrap it up pretty quickly. Yeah, I think for me, it's always going to be incentive and time investment. And I think, you know, what they have to realize, you know, about this community, especially if you're given great rewards for in-game activities and harder activities, that is always something that we're going to gravitate towards. And in reference to trials specifically, I just want it more accessible. I want more casuals to take a part out. I want them to say, hey, this is a mode I can participate in. I'm not going to feel stomped. They started the right direction with that trials bounty that just, hey, get in there, get some rounds, get a couple kills. You've got a shot at the 3. Like, these are the things, but I want more now. I want, like, you know, when you do a Nightfall, you know, sometimes it's double Nightfall reward weekend. You get golf balls, you get shards. Like, I want this thing to be showering a little bit more, even on mats and other things, so that there is an incentive. There's a reason to go in there. And I think, you know, Physics said it best too, you know, even with the ranking inclusion in that, because, you know, the worst feeling is to jump in there and you can't even get one win because, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just getting mollywopped. And it's just like, yo, what am I even here for? This is not for me. And they run away, you know? And Trials is at its best. This game is at its best when that population is high and people legitimately have a chance. They feel they have a chance to compete and to get some rewards. They may not go all the way to the lighthouse, but at least if they're in the mix. And I think that's the thing that the hardcore, the sweaty community has to kind of be like Physics said. You have to listen, you know what I'm saying? Because we want this game to survive. We don't want this game to die. You know what I mean? So that's always going to be me, you know, time and just Bungie, communication, respect, time investment. If you're going to want me to do a Grandmaster Nightfall, then I just don't want a +2 on something on the gun. like no disrespect to adepts. Like, you know, these are the things, like when there's meaningful loot, substantial loot, you see how the player engagement is. You see how people go, oh my God, I gotta go get such and such. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. I just want them to keep that communication open and pay attention to the community in that respect. And, you know, hopefully, like I said, they got a plan. We'll get some news soon. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back in. You know, it's been a while. Obviously, Outriders was taking a little bit of my time before the inventory wipe. Bad Outriders, but hopefully they get that resolved soon. I got to get them. I got to get them. You know me. I got to get them. Inventory wipe.
You were really unfortunate timing because they patched it a day and a half.
Man,
And
bro,
then, but no, it's like, no, it happened to my buddy as well. It's like, and he was able to at least at level get back up a little bit and kind of grind it out. But no, that one's brutal, and that will shut a whole world off if your loot goes away. So believe me, the restoration cannot come soon enough for people right now.
They get that going. But yeah, I'll jump in, you know, Guardian games, see what's going on. Shout out, you know, and just see what's up with the podiums this week, you know. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Forte, what up? I see you. Haven't played in 2 weeks. I feel you, brother. Yeah, I'm jumping in this Tuesday. Let's link up, bro. I see you in there. So yeah, that's what I got.
So that's, I think, all we got for the show. But before you wrap, Physics, Tony, I wanted to ask you, well, first off, say thank you for joining us. Very appreciate you coming on. Enjoy your perspective. Enjoy your takes on all of this stuff. I knew that stuff was going to come. I can see it in chat.
yeah, they ready. They ready.
They were literally like, on
Physics don't know what, like, Physics does not know what's about to happen right now.
Done.
Yeah, he's not done. He's not done. I got you though.
Yeah. So that being said, while Cognito embarrasses me, the floor is going to be yours for a second while I set up. Let people know where they can find you, what you got going on. All the shameless plugs you want right now, because believe me, you're going to have a minute to do it while I do.
Last Word Fitness. Let's go.
So again, if folks don't know me, of course, the name is illPhysics, aka Tony. You know, most folks just call me Tony. And you can find me, of course. All the links are there on Twitter. We're quite active. illPhysics. On Twitch, of course, illPhysics as well. On Instagram, it's illPhysics. We just started on Instagram, and Instagram's been giving me some like errors lately. I've been trying to go like really hard there, but either way, we'll be posting there more frequently here in the near future. Of course, on YouTube, it's illPhysics as well. And we're trying to figure out exactly, you know, where we're leaning with regards to content on YouTube, but that should also ramp up here in the next month or so. So. But you can definitely catch me on Twitter. Definitely catch me on Twitch, of course. You can always go to my channel and type in !Discord. We have a fantastic Discord community. We have Discord movie nights on Wednesday nights.
Oh, nice.
That's at 10 p.m. Eastern. We've been doing that for like a long ass time now, and certainly like one of the most fun, if not the most fun, like Discord night of the week. We just watched The Mummy and The Mummy Returns like a couple weeks ago. This past Wednesday night, we watched The Greatest Showman. We've watched Interstellar. We've watched Inception. We've watched just a bunch of movies. Really,
that's a hell of a list of movies, by the way. Those are all awesome.
I'm just saying, any movie that I can grab off of torrents, then you know, I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna go. So yeah. Every once in a while, we definitely have like double features. It can be kind of like impromptu. I think we watched Batman, and then we watched Batman. Dark Knight as well, and that was kind of like impromptu. I just, you know, download another one and we go again. But yeah, that's Wednesday nights, every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's always a load of fun. And then on Sundays, something that I do for my community and just the community at large in general. But one of the biggest ways that I give back to my community is it's kind of improvement focused PvP. We have something I call community customs, where I bring in 6 kind of blossoming PvP players.
I like that.
Like Paul Tassi.
Blossoming. I like that.
Paul Tassi did come through. That is definitely true.
Oh, salute.
And so yeah, he wrote an article about it in Forbes and everything. So it was really, really cool. Really, really cool. So we've been connecting with Paul for like a little bit. And the tagline for Paul that I always tell folks is Paul Tassi gonna be doing double carries by Witch Queen.
Yep. Double carries by Witch Queen. That's awesome.
We're invested in Paul.
Fire.
But most importantly, just reinvesting back into my community. And so, like I said, we bring in 6 blossoming PvP players. They stream their gameplay during different games to the Discord. And a lot of times they'll have like a guest mentor in there. Ascending Nomad's been there. Cool Cheese.
Oh, that's the homie. Yeah, it was a homie.
Generally, I end up giving constructive feedback during a game, but also positively reinforce the stuff that folks did well. Also during a game to just help people to understand, you know, where their improvement is, where they can improve, and what they're doing that they should continue to double down on that be successful in. So just kind of sharing those 6 years of PvP experience playing at a decently high level, trying to just get back to my community. So that's on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's Community Customs. But if you want any updates, it always goes through Twitter. So follow there. And anything that goes live as well, frequently all those updates are coming through in the Discord as well. So keep your notifications on Twitch. But we have a great time. I tell people it's like the best community, the biggest brains, just the kindest folks. Way too many Titans, in my opinion. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Y'all Titans are just super endearing. So,
salute, man. Love what you're doing, brother.
Stay blessed.
Great stuff. Great story. Good to actually have you at the campfire talking Destiny and just picking your brain on stuff because it was really cool. And he's got work to do. What y'all making him do? Hold on. Oh, he's got the sit-ups, y'all. So, all right, finish right quick, just so you know, we had the last word. We support Supreme getting in shape during a pandemic. You know, we gotta stay pristine. You know, some people can't go to the gym. So at the last word, we provide that inspiration for prime, pristine fitness. Look at the form, the elbows touching the knees. My man is out here barefoot. I don't know why he's barefoot in the crib, but that's another story. But at the end of the day, my man E keeping the fitness going. Yo, y'all stupid in the chat. And this is what we do here, man. We are inspiring. We got to keep people in shape because right now it is a pandemic, man. And health is wealth, y'all. Health is wealth. So that's what we do.
But also, like, health is huge on mental health as well.
Yes.
Like, you're out there exercising and whatnot, it can do wonders for your mental health. And we all need a little bit of that mental health bolster right now with regards to the pandemic.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, man, salute to you, brother. I love what you're doing and the community. And I love the fact that it's positive reinforcement and helping people getting better as opposed to, you know, most people like, get wrecked, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you actually helping us along our way to our journey to become, what's the word we're using? Blossoming? I like that. We're using blossoming, right? Okay, we're blossoming into a better player. So salute to that. Forte, he said I should do that. No, leave him alone. Leave him alone. Y'all got him today. He's got to work. He is good. But yeah, salute to you, Physics, for coming on, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Salute, bro. Salute. Yeah, for me, you already know I am at Lord Cognito on Twitter. Appreciate the love and support this week, man. It's been really cool to see. I've been guesting on some shows and stuff like that. And every Sunday, Iron Lord Podcast is the Lord's Day, 1 p.m. Eastern. Check us out. Big guest. If you guys could pull up, it would be greatly appreciated. We will have the legends of Obsidian Entertainment, specifically the Outer Worlds. So they'll be coming through. We've got the game designer and the narrative lead on the latest DLC, Murder on Iridanos. And even if you didn't get a chance to play, come check it out, man. Talk to some devs. Talk about the writing process, development process with these games that we love. Come show support. Really appreciate it. And of course, you know, the last word that Destiny podcast that a lot of people don't know about yet. That you know, come through, man. Pull up.
They're about to know.
I appreciate it. They're about to know. I appreciate it, man. Love the support, man. You guys show me and E love. He's one of the best to work with. And last but not least, got to plug lordsofgaming.net. Please check out the site, man. We've been out here killing it. Some fantastic writers, great opinion pieces. Doesn't matter what platform you like, you know, Xbox, PC, whatever, PlayStation, whatever you rock. It's really cool. It's for the gamers, by the gamers. Check us out, man. And again, the support has been truly humbling. I see a lot of people sending love, and thank you guys. And E, man, what's going on, brother? What we got going on, man? Outriders World ambassador himself. What's going on, sir? When do I get my loot back? Talk to the people. Did you speak to the execs? When do I get it back? What's the date?
He gives me such a hell of a time just because I was lucky enough to be an Outriders ambassador. So
yes. I tease him. He's in the corporate meetings. He knows.
Yeah, big time.
Let's go.
No, they are working. That's like literally first piece was the patch for Outriders to make sure the inventory wipes stop happening. I think they've got that. They patched it on, I want to say Thursday. They're monitoring it through their weekend to make sure that holds. The restoration's piece 2, of course. So it's like, I don't have a date yet. Not sure, but it's like they're trying as soon as they can. It's going to be like, once they know that's kind of stopped, then they're trying to basically make sure everything goes back in at the same time. So they only have to do that piece once. It will be additive to your inventory, so it's not going to wipe stuff out. They're going to be giving it to you. So you won't be losing things. So if you keep playing a little bit, grind a little more, it will go back on, so you can play a little bit more. But yeah, me, back and forth between played first part of Ori and the Will of the Wisp on Wednesday. So that's part 1 of that sequel, still holding up just as good. Like that game, the platform, like it's sometimes you find games that are just spot on, and it's one of those, just a platformer. And with like a little bit of combat in there, they kind of jumped in a bit more of like fighting in this one as well. It's just the first one was good, and the way they tell the stories and the art design and everything in this game just looks a little bit crisper.
Yes,
like the details just a little bit finer everywhere. So it's and the music, I could just sit there and listen to the soundtrack. So I
think there's a 120 hertz mode in that too.
Probably is. I'd have to look. I played it on Steam, so.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I know on Xbox Series X it does. Yeah, so that one's beautiful. And then Outriders, of course, Destiny 2, just kind of going back and forth between those. But yeah, kind of Wednesday is like my variety day right now. There's a lot of stuff coming to kind of see what falls in there. But you guys know where to find me streaming or on YouTube or on Twitter, trying to keep up with all the antics of our wonderful community. Usually I just kind of sit back and grab the popcorn and see what everybody's saying, but that's usually the fun part. So, but that's pretty much all we got. So thank you guys very much. We're going to go over and raid Patty Cakes. Wanted to see you guys over there.
GG Encore in the building.
So definitely playing some Destiny 2 and Trials tonight. So nice, gentlemen. Go over there, send him some love. So we're going to wrap up this episode for you guys tonight. April 16th, episode 145. We're been doing this for a minute. It always kind of kills me when we say the numbers up there. But for tonight's episode, seriously, sir, Tony, thank you very much, sir. It was an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure.
Ours as well.
Absolutely.
But we're going to go raid Patty Cake. So thank you guys very much. But for this episode, it has been the last word.